Attorney Kevin Smith cross-examined fellow partygoer Griffin Marcinsic, who said he saw the deadly brawl begin.
But you can't tell us who it was that started shaking the vehicle.
It's not that I couldn't tell you who, it's that I didn't specifically look around and remember who was who. I know who all my friends are, obviously, yes, but I don't know where their positions are, I don't know their experiences. I was paying attention to myself and looking at the car. I wasn't watching everyone else's doings.
Valley has pleaded not guilty after turning down a plea deal. That trial now in its second day of testimony, expected to last about 2 weeks. President Trump's not sharing much about which direction the U.S. may go to help Israel directly in its fight with Iran or to stand back. But this morning, talking with reporters, he said he wishes Iran good luck.
I may do it, I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country. It's very sad to watch.
Iran vows retaliation against the U.S. if America gets involved directly, despite its threats for more violence against Israel. Their strikes on Israel last night were more limited than previous nights, as Israel continues to slam Iranian nuclear and military sites. Police in Waterbury are investigating after they report shots fired earlier today. It was around 10 this morning. Officers got the call, a report of shots fired near 203 Woodlawn Terrace. Investigators say there were no victims, but they did recover evidence of gunfire. Anyone with any information being asked to get in touch with the Waterbury PD. There's been another development in the assassination of a former Minnesota State House Speaker and her husband.
The home of Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark Hortman, who were murdered here just days ago, was broken into last night in what appears to be an attempted burglary.
This reporter Esme Murphy, State Senator John Hoffman and his wife remain hospitalized, recovering from gunshot wounds that same day. A judge is considering whether Stanford-based Purdue Pharma proposed OxyContin settlement should be put to a vote.
Every state has agreed to the $7 billion settlement. The judge will decide if local governments and victims of the opioid crisis should also get to vote on it. Brian Hampton represents the victims. He's upset they would get less than $1 billion of those dollars.
Victims were not first in line, but last in line.
Most of the money would go to state and local governments to fight the epidemic, as well as creditors, hospitals, insurance companies, and pharmacy chains. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Stars are back for this weekend's Travelers Championship at the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell. U.S. Ryder Cup captain and New Englander Keegan Bradley won the tournament 2 years ago.
You know, I have fond memories of coming here when I was 13 years old. My first time getting to see a really PGA Tour player up close. I watched David Duval. It's just still really such a treat for me to come here and play. My favorite place to play, you know, basically in the world, and I look forward to it every year.
Now, Bradley finished 33rd at the U.S. Open last weekend. Champion of that tournament, J.J. Spawn, is also playing the Travelers. He'll be paired with last year's champ, world number 1 Scotty Scheffler. Pro-Am is ongoing today. First round set for tomorrow. We'll have leaderboard updates throughout the weekend here on WTIC News Talk 1080. WTIC News Time. Coming up on 2:05, checking traffic. We've got the Windsor Road work on 291 West between 2A and exit 1 off in the shoulder. Crews working both the east and westbound sides of 384, the area of exit 3 in Manchester. We still have 84. The exits 15 on and off ramp closed because of an overturned tractor trailer. This from earlier this morning. Road work continues in Tolland, eastbound 84 between 68 and 74. That's roving in the right shoulder. And we're looking at delays along the 95 corridor beginning out of Greenwich. Looks like some slow traffic from up exit 2 right up to Stamford and exit 8. Bob Cox with the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
During the afternoon, we'll warm things up to about 80 degrees or so, and the humidity continues to rise. Dew point's going to get up to about 70, so it becomes increasingly humid and uncomfortable in that respect. Some partial sun possible, but there's also the chance for a scattered shower or thunder shower somewhere, especially in the late afternoon or evening into the first half of tonight. Overnight, we'll see some areas of fog developing in the muggy air, lows 64 to 70. Early low clouds and fog Thursday give way to sunshine. It's going to be hot and very humid tomorrow. Highs reaching the low 90s inland, if not 90 to 95. And there is the threat for thunderstorms in the, especially the late afternoon and evening. There could be a couple strong storms or even a severe thunderstorm late tomorrow into tomorrow evening. We'll also have a ambient southwesterly breeze at about 10 to 20 miles an hour during the day. The cold front comes through Thursday night. Once it passes, the threat for a shower or storm ends, and then we'll see the humidity start to break and skies go partly cloudy with lows in the 60s. Friday looks mostly sunny with noticeably lower humidity, highs in the low 80s, and it's a mix of sun and clouds Saturday with highs in the mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
75 and cloudy right now in Hartford. Got baseball on the air this afternoon. 4:10 first pitch for the Red Sox and the Mariners in Seattle. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Join us this Sunday for Tumalo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune into the father-son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumalo Financial, retirement planning with integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, what?
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things. Like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You log into your DSP. It's confusing. Where do you build a campaign? Where's the report? Targeting's vague, CTV's tacked on and overpriced. Then you find Viant. Setup? Just a chat prompt. AI does the rest. Targeting? People-based and precise across premium publishers. Measurement? Transparent. Outcome-driven. And CTV? We've led since streaming meant something. Viant is the DSP that actually gets advertising. Still trading on a desk? Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions. Warranty.com. In sports, it's the dream team. And if your
Thank
car
you,
is out
sir.
of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get the benefits of our Elite Plan, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay auto repairs again. So call now for your free quote.
Call 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342. 800-291-0342.
Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the Radio. Turn it up. Turn it up loud. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio.
Reese's on the radio. Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the Radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's an interesting thing when you do this for a living, like this is your job, to come on the radio and talk to the audience and have them talk back to you and get messages about things that are important. Sometimes I say to myself, or I ask myself, and I really do, I'm not trying to, draw you in with some sort of sob story that makes me all important. It is something that I really think about. So when I say this, I'm saying it to be honest with you, not to bloviate. But sometimes I do ask myself, like, what are you hoping to accomplish here? Maybe get some people to think about things differently. Are you here to give voice to those who agree with you and to debate back and forth? Are you really doing anything, changing anything? And the reason why I've ever thought about that is because one time my ex-wife, good friend of mine, to this day, Mary, you all know her, Mary. She asked me that when I was doing the podcast. She was like, why do you do it? You pay for it. You technically do it for free as far as the revenue is concerned. I mean, it pays for itself. You really do it for nothing. Why are you doing it? And I went, I really do believe that even one, maybe two, maybe even three people will listen to the show. It will grow, and maybe it will change some minds. It will help someone think critically about where we are and where we're going. It's just doing your small part. And I was watching Kevin Sorbo of Hercules fame, independent filmmaker. You know the guy. God is not dead. He said that during the 2020 Republican convention in an interview. He said, you got to get out there and you got to do something. You got to talk. Doesn't matter whether or not you got 1 listener or 1 million listeners. You got to do it. Don't fret. Get out there. Get the word out. Someone is listening to your voice, and you got to use it for good. And that sort of gives me hope in doing this. I get a lot of messages from you folks, and I really do appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, I do. But there are stories that really get me mad and incensed. And I could tell these stories to you to get you mad and incensed with me. But now I have to do it because I'm hoping that somebody on the alternative side, on the opposite side, gets to listen to this. And maybe, not so much as have a change of heart, but think critically about what they believe in. Because there must be a degree of abandonment of ideals and abandonment of morals and, I don't know, just common sense to support some of the things that people are doing now for things like social justice, equity, inclusion, whatever it is. When you ask for these things, you are asking for them to be way beyond the pale. You are asking for somebody to be extreme. And I'd like to give you an example of that extreme. I'm going to do this one backwards. I like doing these backwards. I'd like to give you what happened or what the result of this story was, and then give you the story. Because I want you to understand that what you believe, those of you on the left, those of you who are progressives, what you believe goes against your own core principles. See, what you do out there in the rallies and the protests, we know that's all theater. It's not real. When you go home, you have a certain set of ideals that no one knows about that you can do in the privacy of your home. And good on you. I am so proud of you for practicing those beliefs in your home, as you should. I think all of us should be good stewards in our own home when it comes to our own practices. What you do in public may influence people or may give them license to do the most unseemly things, but whatever. We'll deal with that in the streets. Let me get to the story. An Oregon Court of Appeals presiding judge named Josephine Mooney overturned the jury's decision to keep a man in jail for life. Judge Mooney felt that there was so-called racial bias in the jury selection because 2 black jurors were removed from a case of a man who was tried and convicted and going to serve said life in prison. Through all of this, the perpetrator of said crime had served 8.5 years in jail and now will be released in about 1.5 years, serving 10 years. During an interview with the International Association of LGBTQ plus judges, Judge Mooney confirms that she doesn't look at each case based on true justice, but rather through the liberal ideology of social justice, which puts race at the forefront. She says, quote, "I'm firmly committed to follow the rule of law in a way that supports a diverse and open society. And when I say that, and when I use those words, they are sometimes buzzwords that start to lose their meaning over time. When I use the words diverse and open, I mean genuinely and honestly diverse and open." She went on to say, "And I think the role that the law plays in society, if it's enforced equitably, fairly, impartially, I think you can get there. But it requires each one of us to look deep inside and make a conscious effort to see things from another person's perspective." That was her quote. Let's get to the case that she overturned from life imprisonment and made 10 years. Headline: Murdering dad gets sweetheart deal because female judge has white guilt. Americans are waking up to the reality that our judicial system is rotten to the core. However, this latest example of judge vacating a conviction of a man who violently murdered his daughter over the lack of jury diversity is about the most disgusting abuse of judicial history one can display. 15-month-old Kamaya Flores died from a drug overdose in 2013 while in the care of her father, Darian Lee McWoods. The Oregon State Medical Examiner Office found methamphetamine in her bloodstream and evidence of physical abuse, including unilateral broken ribs with the laceration of her liver, facial bruising, and facial pectical hemorrhages on her body. It took over 4 years to get McWoods in front of a jury to answer for the charges against him, which included 2 counts of murder by abuse, 3 counts of manslaughter in the first degree, and 1 count of criminal negligent homicide, criminal mistreatment in the first degree, and tampering with a witness during the trial. The state's expert testified that his daughter had injuries consistent with the inflicted child abuse and compression asphyxia. McWoods was eventually convicted on all charges on June of 2018 and was sentenced to life in prison. Now, in a healthy society, writes the writer, this would be the end of the story. A father violently abused his daughter and left drugs out that led to her murder. But unfortunately, the American justice system is tainted by left-wing activists, attorneys, and judges who use race as a reason to give men like McWoods lighter sentences. Now, I want to go back to the last part of the quote of Judge Josephine Mooney is her name. The last quote, she says, again, and I think that the role the law plays in society, if it's enforced equitably, fairly, and impartially, I think you can get there. But it requires each one of us to look deep inside and make a conscious effort to see things from another person's perspective. Clearly not the murdered child. The reason for this overturning of his sentence was because 2 jurors were excluded who happened to be black, which gives the impression to me, maybe I'm just a lay person in all of this, gives the impression from Judge Mooney that had those black judges been in the jury, or those jurors been in the jury, I should say, sorry, that they would have seen this from a racially equitable place that would have disregarded the death of this child and understood this black man's reasoning, excuse for murdering a 15-month-old child? I would think, and maybe I'm crazy for thinking it, I'm under the impression that some things go beyond race. I'm under the belief that some things go beyond gender. Some things even go beyond age. I don't believe that there is a cultural divide in this country that sees the evidence of a 15-month-old child with methamphetamines in the system, broken ribs, bruised liver, asphyxiated, and says, what race is the guy? None. Unless I'm missing something. Unless someone can explain to me, because I would have imagined that it's almost like looking at the Casey Anthony trial. You know, at the end of it, I understand what the coroner found out, what the coroner suggests, right? And that's why she was let off. But come on, there's a consensus, isn't there? Even though none of us are coroners, none of us are MDs, we know we got a mother who is running around, clearly neglecting her child, and a child who's dead. Sometimes 2 + 2 = 4, 1 + 1 = 2. But in this case, a judge says he served his time, 10 years goes. And what gives him that get-out-of-jail-free card is the fact that 2 black jurors were excluded. For what reasons, we don't know. There hasn't been any explanation. Maybe we should find out. But it could be for a host of reasons. Hey, maybe one of the black jurors said, you know what, I don't think that I can judge this case fairly because, I don't know, I'm a Black Lives Matter member. You know, or I don't think I can judge this case fairly because I don't believe in convicting black people of crimes. Or, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that could exclude them. This goes back to the thing I said yesterday about the stupidest thing I read today about moving Dr. Martin Luther King's bust out of the Oval Office. Does it have to stay because it's a black man? Like, can it never be touched? Is it so sensitive that once you apply the race to it. Nothing can be done. There can be no scrutiny. There can be no questions. Seriously. I mean, be honest with you, I would love to be able to get away with that. Who wouldn't? I don't think that there's a bunch of people running around saying that they feel justice. Like, boy, do I wish I could get away with some of the stuff. If I could just say, you know what? You don't get it. It's an Italian thing. But what's it take? I mean, what does it take? What does it take? People talk about being fair and equitable for the murderer? Has it gotten that bad? Have we had to reach equitable levels to the point where a man who murders his 15-month-old daughter gets let out with minimal time? Is that the kind of equity, the kind of reparations we're talking about? I don't know anybody who can live with that, much less in the black community. It's sad, but I just wanted to share that with you because it outraged me, and I I would be insane to think that it wouldn't outrage you. The story's in the Daily Caller. If you want to read it, it's there today. Our good friends at the Daily Caller posted that today. It was the top story. We got more news, more views. We're on 1080 today up until 4 o'clock, and then we go online to the Odyssey app, so make sure you download the Odyssey app. We got more news and more views. We got a bunch of Connecticut stuff today you don't want to miss. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
Here at ALO, we believe hearing solutions to your main drain problems shouldn't cost a thing. That's why we offer free mainline drain camera inspections and free estimates on sewer line repair or replacement. Contact the trusted professionals at ALO when you call, click, or text today and say, hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P1027768, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
A successful retirement doesn't just happen. It requires a plan that is custom built to suit everyone's individual financial situation. Every Saturday at 3, we share vital information on how to build and live a successful retirement. It's On the Money with Jay Dorso. Retirement strategies on building income and proper protection from the pitfalls and the latest news in the retirement universe. On the Money with Jay Dorso, 3 p.m. this Saturday on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Erectile dysfunction affects nearly 50% of men over age 50. But even with so many men affected, finding a trusted provider to treat the condition isn't so simple. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice, and I'm excited to announce the opening of our newest location of Northeast Men's Health in Warwick, Rhode Island. As a Promenic affiliate, Northeast Men's Health can offer men with ED the latest treatment protocols, which are shown in medical studies to be effective in well over 90% of men. And unlike groups that only offer wave therapy or online pharmacies that just sell pills, we offer a variety of treatments to help get you the results you want. You should also know that Northeast Men's Health is a true medical practice, which means our providers have access to a complete range of treatment options to get you back on track. So call Northeast Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
And now, a WTIC News Update.
It's 2:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. Contempt charges against the woman charged and serving time in the murder of Jennifer Farber-Dulos have been dropped. Michelle Triconis is doing 14 years on conspiracy and tampering with evidence charges. She was slapped with the contempt charge when she was found to have sealed documents on her courtroom laptop during trial. Waterbury police, they're looking into a report of shots fired this morning in the city, and they say they were called to an area of Woodlawn Terrace around 10. No injuries have been reported, but police say they did recover evidence of gunfire. Day 2 of testimony in the trial of a teen who was charged with killing another teen at a Shelton house party 3 years ago. One of the party's attendees was on the stand today in the murder trial of Raoul Valley. Iran's supreme leader rejected U.S. calls for surrender in the face of more Israeli strikes and warned that any military involvement by the Americans would cause, quote, irreparable damage to them. An ACLU lawyer says the Supreme Court decision upholding Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors is, quote, a devastating loss for transgender people. Justice's 6-3 vote today effectively protects from legal challenges many efforts by the Trump administration and state governments to roll back protections for transgender people. And the greatest golfers in the world are getting ready for the start of play at the Travelers Championship Thursday at the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell. Today it's Celebrity Pro-Am Day. WTIC News Talk 1080 will have leaderboard updates in the top and bottom hour newscasts right through the weekend. WTIC News Time is 2:31. Here's Bob with the forecast.
During this afternoon, clouds will try to mix with some partial sun. We'll see the high around 80 or so with rising humidity. That dew point probably getting up to about 70. There's the chance for a scattered shower, thunder shower in a few towns by the late afternoon and evening. Tonight, for a while, there could still be a scattered shower, thunder shower somewhere. We'll see some areas of fog forming. It's a muggy night, lows 64 to 70. We'll start out with some early low clouds and fog tomorrow, and then that breaks up and the sun comes out. Temperatures will rise above 90 inland, a little cooler near the shore. It's going to be very humid, too. The heat index could be flirting with 100 tomorrow, and there is the threat for some thunderstorms, especially in the late afternoon and evening, with the potential for a strong to severe storm. Cold front will come through tomorrow night. Once it passes, the threat for any showers or storms comes to an end. The humidity will begin to decrease, and the sky becomes partly cloudy with lows in the 60s. That sets us up for a nice day Friday, mostly sunny, noticeably lower humidity, highs in the low 80s. And it's a mix of sun and clouds on Saturday with temperatures well into the 80s. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
Wall Street, the Dow up 112, NASDAQ is ahead 89, and the S&P up 20 points. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Wisdom teeth giving you trouble? Columbia Dental's expert oral surgeons specialize in comfortable and efficient wisdom tooth removal. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Looking for better propane savings and services for your home? Go with your local propane pros at Petro. Switch now and get up to $500 free propane. Go to petro.com now or call 877-399-8395 today. Propane not available in all areas.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Hi, this is Eric Hogarth, certified financial planner from Money Wisdom. Learn ways to prevent avoidable surprises from derailing your retirement and discover smart financial strategies for your future. Listen every week on Money Wisdom, Saturdays at 8:30 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Brian Shackman here for QC Kinetics. Listen, a huge focus for everybody is health. More and more people are looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. They want natural solutions to their problems. Well, if you have joint pain and you want a natural solution and lasting joint pain relief, you might want to try the natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power at QC Kinetics. No surgery, no downtime, no drugs. These cellular level treatments revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. And the thing about it is the consultation is totally free. You go in there, you find out if it's right for you, and then make a decision. And if you want to go this route, whether it's hips, knees, shoulders, or back, it could change your life. Okay, give them a call. The consultation's free. 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. And the chances are they're located near you. They have offices in Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury. So give QC Kinetics a call. Set up that appointment. Stop just dealing with the pain. Do something about it. 860-440-PAIN. 860-440-PAIN.
Summer's coolest mattress deals are going on now at Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale. This summer, save up to $1,000 on select mattresses. And say goodbye to hot sleep and save up to $500 on the best-selling Tempur-Breeze collection. Plus, feel the freedom to snooze now and pay later with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Better sleep starts at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything, online to hybrid courses, lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Classes start soon. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com. This is Cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
I'd like to display, if I could, the mind-numb virus that is progressivism. And I don't say this because I wish to be mean-spirited. I love the guy. I've talked to him often enough. And he is a supporter of this show just by tuning in, even though he doesn't agree with me. But I need to read what he wrote because, again, he wants people to know that's what he thinks, so this is what he thought of the story. If you're just joining us, we talked about a story about a man who was found guilty of murdering his 15-month-old daughter, asphyxiation, methamphetamines, lacerations to her liver, broken ribs. I mean, we're talking textbook case of murdering your child, who's supposed to serve life in prison because of an appellate judge who says that she wanted to delve out justice equitably based upon race. He's going to get out in 10. Jury of his peers, they say. Jury of his peers. Donald writes in the chat room his statement. Again, after hearing the story, which I presume he heard the whole thing. I said it transcends who you are, where you're from. You hear a story like this, bury this guy. Here's what he writes. And I couldn't believe it. According to the U.S. Sentencing Commission, black male offenders on average receive sentences 20.4% longer than white males who commit the same crimes. So what? Are you suggesting that the judge was supposed to deal with an isolated case of a man who killed his child and run the statistics? That's how we're supposed to deal with people in a reasonable way. We run the numbers. That's how we're convicting people. Donald, come on, man. Really? What about that isn't just insanity? That you think that that's how we dole out punishment here. I don't understand it. Zach says she was 16 months old, bro. Why is this guy even breathing? I don't know one person who would look at it, but apparently Donald can look at this and find some reasoning here. It makes no sense to me. 860-522-WTIC. Let me go to Steve in Springfield first. How are you, Steve? Steve, you there? Oh, that's unfortunate. Sorry, Steve. Let's go to Tom then. Hey, Tom.
Hey, hello. I really got to make a statement on White Mike yesterday, but where was the justice for the baby?
Yeah.
She was at least half black, right?
Yes.
He was a black man. That was his child.
Yeah.
So she was at least 50% black. Where was the justice for her while she was being tortured? She just didn't have a bullet to her head and be instantly dead.
Yeah.
They beat the hell out of her at least one day.
I think
for months before her death.
You know what? Exactly. Would there have been? Maybe there would have been justice for the 16-month-old child if she had been killed by a white cop. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's how do you look at it any other way? I mean, that's ostensibly that's what we have here. Is that this woman is looking at this man and saying, how does she look into the eyes? And this is one thing that I never understood. Because these are the same people who will say, you can't understand what that person is going through because you're not this, that, or the other, right? You're not gay, you're not trans, you're not black, you're not Hispanic. So you can't possibly know what they're going through. In this case, a white woman says that she understands his pain, understands what he went through, and the struggles. The demons he was probably fighting to not kill his 16-month-old child, right? Or 18 months. I think she's a year and a half. Or his 18-month-old child, right? And I've got to give this guy some leniency instead of just saying, nail this guy as badly as I possibly can. A jury of his peers said he's got to. And what do you think the jurors were thinking who may have been all white, getting justice for, as you put it, at least a half-black child who was seeking justice for a child who's no longer in existence? I'd say they got some racial justice out of this.
Yeah, she is pure white guilt. That's all that is, Reese. Pure white guilt.
It's disgusting. What did you want to say about White Mike? Because I'm going to talk about that today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that infuriated me so much. And I will try to put myself in his place, like you said.
Right.
Kind of,
but you know what? Let me put it this way, and I'll tell you what Mike, and again, this is not disparaging. He's a friend of mine, but I know where he's coming from here. Mike is really takes the microcosm of bad behavior and spreads it on towards a lot of people. It's not like he was making that reference yesterday about IDF soldiers who were shooting Palestinians in the testicles. He will use that as an example to smear or to ridicule everybody in the IDF because no one has done anything about that individual incident. He can name probably hundreds, but it's meant to condemn them all. That's his auspice. Yeah. That's the point of view.
No one's pure and holy. Everyone makes mistakes, but to say that every Israel soldier is like that is ridiculous.
Right.
But he made the comment about Israel's wanting to gain ground. If he goes back and reads anything about Israel, in the 40s, they offered Palestine massively more territory than they have now in Gaza, and they said no.
That's right.
In the 50s, they offered them more land, and they said no. In the 60s, they'd offered them more land than they have now. They've consistently said no.
Oh, they didn't just say no, Tom. Tom, you're missing a very, very key element in all this. Not only did they say no, but they started wars after they were offered.
Exactly. And after every war, Israel still offered them land.
Indeed.
All they want is from the river to the sea. They want to kill every Jewish person.
Yeah.
All Israel wants to do is live in peace with the peaceful Muslims in the area. And the other thing that he doesn't mention, no Arab country wants the Palestinians. They never did.
This is also true.
Palestinians are nomadic people. They never had a homeland. They were just nomadic people. They traveled all over the Persian Empire.
You know what?
Throughout history.
Tom, let me stop you because that's a good point that when Mike was brought up the fact that why he mentioned that Israelis have always had problems with everyone. He fails to mention that, even though most of the so-called Palestinians, and I use that term loosely, and I'm sorry, folks, history has got my back on this, but when you look at all of the Arab nations across, what is it they say when a war breaks out due to Hamas or Hezbollah, when refugees need to leave Gaza and go somewhere else? All of the Arab nations whom they share DNA with, what do they do every time? Jordan? No. Egypt? No. Got to build a wall. They all say it. And the president of Egypt just recently said, I cannot have Palestinians here because they create problems. He said that as recent as last year. So you're 100% right.
Yeah. Reese, I've been waiting since 6 o'clock last night to call you. That it just infuriated me.
Well, Tom, I'm glad that you got the opportunity to let it out, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you, boss.
You bet.
All right. Yeah, now I'm going to address that because that's, again, it's a good point. And I get it. The whole deal is there's a large group of people who call Israel the aggressors. Now, and again, I make this clear. I'm going to say this from the get-go. Do I have a bias? Yes. There are a lot of people who sit up and go, I'm objective. I'm not. On certain things, I am not. Some things I know as a conservative I got to own because we ain't perfect. No one is. But on this one, I stand my ground on this one, regardless of how you may criticize Benjamin Netanyahu, which I've done a great deal of in the last couple of days, is criticize Benjamin Netanyahu and been incredibly suspicious, of his actions in Iran. But I do understand all of this. Maybe from my perspective, I understand what his reasoning is. Not that I agree with it, but I understand. That's the difference. My job is not, what can I do here other than either disagree or opine about what my opinion is? I just want to get that clear. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Donald comes back after he says, according to the U.S. Sentencing Commission, about the story we talked about earlier, about the 18-month-old child that was murdered by her father. He writes back, until the playing field is level, your argument is mute. I think he said it's moot, sir. It's moot. Why don't people like you speak out when white people get a slap on the wrist for the crimes that they commit? Do you hear it? Do you hear it? This isn't about race until it's made about race. You see, what I suggested was that anybody looking at this case would get justice for the victim, and in this case, an 18-month-old child. But someone who can't see beyond race at all, has no interest in seeing anything beyond race, cannot. That girl must not be in any way avenged. She can receive no justice, because what is more important is racial justice. That's more important than her justice. He can't even see, he can't even weigh out that black girl's death against this black man murdering her. It's almost like saying, she's dead. What can I do for her now? Who's callous here? See, again, and this is the nonsense of this, Donald. You don't understand it, but let me explain it to you. You are not noble you are callous and cruel. You claim you have empathy. You claim you have compassion. But you don't have it for this girl. And it's evident in your statement. We'll take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
This is Paige Lopez, founder of Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
And through this process of cooking your food, through eating out at restaurants, beverages, which you can drink with Awaken 180 with our guidance, you're learning these tools, you're educating yourself, and it doesn't even seem like learning, but you'll learn so much about the foods that you're eating and the variety that you can enjoy, that you are arming yourself and ultimately your family with a whole host of information that will enable you to make the right choices, the best choices, the choices that taste good to you long term so that you can experience that long-term success easily.
Before turning to weight loss medications, first call Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, effective weight loss naturally. Eat to lose weight, then receive free support for life. Changing your life starts when you make your consultation today. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. 860-440-PAIN.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Hey, you know, I'm not one to brag, but it's our birthday, 100 years. I'm sure you've heard, and I'm sure the present that you have for us is incredible, right?
All right, we're back. Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080. Let me get to, there's some phone calls here, actually. Oh, there he is. Steve is in Springfield is back. How are you, Steve?
Hi, Reese. How you doing?
Pretty good. What's up?
I don't know. That whole thing that you were talking about, that little girl, James Madison wrote that justice is the end of government. If that fails, all is lost.
Wow. Indeed.
And the thing is too, you know, this whole thing that it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. You shot my brother, so I'm going to kill your daughter. You know, it's a bunch of crap. Justice is supposed to be an even weight. It's supposed to be even-handed, and it's supposed to be blind.
Right. And again, I think the miscarriage of justice that we're noticing here, Steve, is there are people who are trying themselves to correct whatever past disparities there may have been. My friend Rusty.
You can't do that.
Yeah, my friend Rusty still does. He uses the term or the phrase playing God. And that's what it is. These people are patting themselves on the back, thinking that they're doing something good. Well, in essence, all they're doing is playing God, because I would say, look, if God being the ultimate decider here, right? God's going to lay this out. There are no coincidences. But it is never up to you to actually make decisions for people and what they do. Your job is to apply the law. Forget about all that other nonsense. Because this guy had nothing to do with the other disparities. He's responsible for the crime he committed, and that's how you should apply the law.
You know, and it's like when they talk about, like, nations that displaced other nations. How far back in time are you supposed to go to give all the land back to everybody that had it taken from them?
Again,
even the Indians themselves were fighting against each other and conquering each other. Give me a break.
I know, but I think the amount of people, presentism, that's the term. There are so many people today who think that they have no role in life. Now they must decide that they're going to correct the past. And again, as Rusty put it, playing God. It's like they are going to be the moral majority, the moral superiority, and correct the wrongs of the past, because I think in their own life, they don't really have, well, maybe they don't. I shouldn't say they don't, but I'm under the impression they don't really have any purpose. So now it's easy to just judge things based upon the past, and then you try to correct them.
I'd like to make one quick point before I go.
Please.
This is something that's kind of like been dawning on me. You know what the whole holy grail about transgenderism is?
What's that?
I think what's transgender is it creates the most mentally disturbed, cognitive dissonance type of people that make great revolutionaries.
That's a good point. If you can brainwash them with that, you can brainwash them into anything. You can get them to stand for anything.
To do anything. Yeah. I really believe that. I think they're training sociopathic soldiers to just wreak havoc.
That's such a good point. Because, if there is no objective truth, anything can be true. And you can give people their marching orders based on that. I think that's the reason why we hear
they never print their manifestos.
Yeah, but I think that's the reason why we hear things like, if you pass this bill, people will die. We don't have to have any objective truth there. You have so many mind-numb robots who believe anything that they're told.
I'm hoping that what's his name, John F. Kennedy Jr., who's the health secretary, he should delve into this.
Yeah, it's a good point. It is a way to it's a way to influence and to brainwash. If anything.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you, sir.
No, take care.
You got it. I think that's kind of easy to do. I don't know what a woman is. Transgender men are, or I don't know. Transgender are, I don't know whatever it is. How the phrase goes. I don't know. I just know women are women. I just probably because I'm confused because I'm not supposed to be confused. One more comment by Donald before we go to break. And again, never once taking into consideration a word that I just said about how cruel it is to not even care about an 18-month-old child losing their life. He writes, in today's world, everything is about race. The conversation is about race, and the fact the accused is black, and therefore the judge had no business reducing his sentence. I'm almost sure if the accused was white, you would not be concerned. Of course, really? And that's where you think you get your justification from? You presume that I wouldn't care, so that's why you care more? Wow. All right. What else can I say? What else can I say? I mean, there you have it, folks. Sometimes you let people walk into the wall. We got to take a time out, but we will be back. More news, more views. We got a lot of Connecticut stuff to talk about today. And a kid by the name of Slade Logsdon. I want to talk about him. But let's get to some news with John Silva on WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll have cloudy skies. It's humid. maybe a thunderstorm, not for everyone. And the humidity really ramps up tonight, and then it's downright hot and humid tomorrow. We'll have the forecast details coming up. Contempt charges against the woman who is serving time in the murder of Jennifer Farber-Dulos have been dropped. Michelle Troconis is doing 14 years on conspiracy and tampering with evidence. She was slapped with a contempt charge when she was found to have sealed documents on her courtroom laptop during trial. Carrie Luft, a spokesman for Jennifer Dulos' family, says in a statement she brought her concerns to the case inspector and supports the move, as a trial would be unnecessary and time-consuming. Fotis Dulos was accused in Jennifer's disappearance and murder in 2019. He took his own life before he went to trial. Israel's supreme leader is rejecting President Trump's call for an unconditional surrender. The president was asked today what he meant by that.
Unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more. Then we go blow up all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there.
Correspondent Ed O'Keefe reports the president was also asked if he'll use the military to strike targets in Iran, as Israel has done for nearly a week.
He suggested there he may do it, he may not do it, which of course will be heard around the world as holding us all in suspense as to what exactly the United States may do, if anything, to join Israel in its attack on Iran. He did suggest that Iran has offered to come to the White House for talks and that he turned those down. But the United Nations mission of Iran a little while ago on X refuted that, saying that is not the case.
Iran's leader says any U.S. involvement would cause, quote, irreparable damage. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision today, upheld Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors.
They're rejecting claims that there's any kind of equal protection argument, and they're also rejecting or deciding not to decide for now, and this would have been a major expansion. They're not going to decide how they're going to look at transgender people generally under the Constitution.
That's Jan Crawford, who covers the High Court. 26 states have laws similar to the one in Tennessee. Standoff in North Haven came to a peaceful end this morning. Police say it began around 12:30 a.m. when North Haven officers assisted East Haven police in attempting to arrest a New Haven man for a family violence incident. Officers arrived on scene at 1031 Hartford Turnpike on reports that 24-year-old Javier Reveron was at that location. When they arrived, police say the suspect was uncooperative and in possession of a rifle. For hours, police and SWAT team attempted to coax Reverend out of the house. Authorities say he finally surrendered without incident around 7:30. Right now, North Haven detectives are working with the state's attorney's office on charges. Reverend is also expected to face charges in East Haven as well. Murder trial in the 2022 stabbing death of Fairfield Prep student Jimmy McGrath continues today. Its third day in Milford Superior. Prosecutors say St. Joe's High School student Raul Valley, who was 16 at the time, fatally stabbed McGrath and injured 3 others when a fight broke out during a house party in Shelton. Griffin Mercinsic attended that party. He told the jury he remembered the brawl unfolding. Valley's defense attorney Kevin Smith questioned his memory and credibility.
Isn't it that you don't want to tell us? You don't want to tell us what your friends did that night?
Honestly, I wish I could, but I don't know.
Well, you can. Go ahead, tell us.
Well, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know where my friends' position were or where they were, no.
But you knew how you came out of that house?
Yeah, because I
I'm
walked
object
it.
is asked and answered at this point.
I'll sustain the objection.
Valley, who turned down a plea deal, has pled not guilty. Instead, the trial expected to last about 2 weeks. Pro-Am Day out at the Travelers Championship at the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell. Some of the regulars are there, including Andre Tippett, Doug Flutie, and Chris Berman. Also playing as a new face, Mary Kate Morrissey, who recently starred in Wicked on Broadway.
It's funny, I feel really, really nervous, and I was just doing the math. I think I've sung in front of 800,000 people last year, and I feel more nervous now doing this in front of this group, just because this is the thing that I'm not the pro at.
She first picked up the clubs last year. The Golf Pros start their $20 million weekend tomorrow. The field features defending champ and world number 1 Scotty Scheffler and the newly crowned U.S. Open champ J.J. Spawn. WTIC News Time is 3:05 from the WTIC 24-hour traffic network. Looks like there's an issue in the town of Southbury. This is 84 East. Between exits 11 and 15, looks like a rolled over tractor trailer between 15 and 16. It's got the right and center lanes taken out. We've also got the delays building in the Hartford area, eastbound 84. Between exits 44 and 51, westbound side begins to slow out on East Hartford from 56 out to 46. And some delays in Windsor on 91 southbound into the city between exits 35A and exit 32. Let's check the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, there'll be more clouds than sun, humid and warmer with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high of 80. Tonight, becoming partly cloudy, but remaining warm and humid, the low only down to 69. A hot day for Thursday with a mix of clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a heavy gusty thunderstorm that could produce hail and damaging winds, a high of 94. Thursday night, still a thunderstorm in spots early in the evening, otherwise turning out clear. Friday, mostly sunny, breezy, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, the high of 86. Then the heat builds as we officially kick off the first full day of summer Saturday. Very warm, even with the clouds limiting sun, the high up to 88. Sunday, sunny to partly cloudy, hotter, the high of 91. And Monday, partly sunny, very hot, will break the record from 1965 with the hottest day since last summer, the high of 98. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, checking Wall Street. The Dow is up 9 points. The NASDAQ up 34. S&P is up 4 points. Red Sox baseball on the radio this afternoon. 4:10, first pitch. Boston and Seattle will finish up that 3-game set in the Pacific Northwest. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Dreaming of a perfect smile? At Columbia Dental, our orthodontic experts specialize in braces and clear aligners like Invisalign. Get the smile you've always dreamed of. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
At Joe the Plumber, we stand behind all our residential work, except maybe toilets. I mean, we do great work on toilets, but toilets are right up against the wall, so they're kind of hard to stand behind, you know? Visit us at calljoetheplumber.com.
At Ayala Home Services, we handle hundreds of water heater issues a year. We know how much of an inconvenience no hot water is, and with our fully stocked trucks and warehouse, you can get your hot water back as soon as the same day. Contact the trusted professionals at Ayala Home Services when you call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776688, E10401465, E11856443, S33086999, HIC 628926, SM30044646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Code varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurance. Auto repair bills are through the roof.
Thank you, sir.
$3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
All right, top of the hour. Let's get to some news. Got some judge news in the headlines today as well. Former President Barack Obama, who spoke at the Connecticut Forum yesterday, many were disappointed at his reluctance to criticize the current administration, specifically Donald Trump. Instead, he spoke about democracy, the losing message of democracy. I read a whole article in the New York Times about this today. It just went, yeah. It was sold out. It was sold out. It's like 2,800 people showed up. A couple of elected officials were there. Johanna Hayes was there as well, including many others. But, yeah, whatever. New polling says that Americans reject street violence and insisted that only legal vetted migration be permitted into our homeland. When asked specifically about the kind of violence in Los Angeles recently, 68% said the violators must be prosecuted. Only 21%, I should say, of them deemed the charges as not important. They must be the same 21% who are voting for Democrats. They also said amongst men, 74% of them believe in criminal consequences, and only 18% of men disagree. In addition to these polls, nearly 2/3 of Hispanics, 64%, demand that there be prosecutions for the raids in places like Los Angeles. That means Portland, Seattle, all those places. In other judge news, a Massachusetts district court judge named Shelley Richmond Joseph. Anybody remember her? Anybody remember her? I remember her. She may lose her 6-figure salary after she allegedly helped a twice-deported illegal alien evade arrest by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement back in 2018. This week's lawyers for the Massachusetts Commission on Judicial Conduct recommended that Joseph be stripped of her, wait for it, $207,000 annual salary and permanently be suspended from the bench as a result of an investigation by the state agency into her actions 7 years ago. The judge can no longer command the respect, they said, and the authority essential to judicial function. Judith Fabricant, special counsel for the commission, said this week during a hearing on the matter. You might remember, this was in 2018 when Joseph swept national headlines after she was accused of helping a twice-deported illegal alien by the name of Jose Medina Perez, who was wanted by ICE agents at the time, escape out of a back door, sound familiar, of the courthouse to evade being arrested by ICE agents who were in the courthouse lobby. This one, for our older audience, please be careful out there. According to a study, U.S. adults, older U.S. adults, are increasingly dying from unintentional falls. The study, which ranges from 2003 to 2023, say that death rates from falls rose more than 70% for adults between the ages of 65 and 74. The report from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that the rate increase is for more than 75% of people 75 to 84. And more than that, doubled for seniors who are 85 and older. The falls continue to be a public health problem, they said, which they say is because more people are living longer and not recognizing that falls are much more, detrimental to them in their older or elderly state. So if you're older out there, please be careful. Please be careful out there walking. I say to myself every time I have to get on the floor, I had to get underneath the dining room table the other day to take the leaf or to move the leaf. It was a weird thing, and there was a lot of groaning. A lot of groaning. So you older folks, please be careful out there as you're walking. And plus, because you're in Connecticut, you got considerable weather, you got cold, you got everything. All right, let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Frank is in Woodbridge. Hello, sir.
Good. I don't know where to start. Well, Karen Reed was found not guilty. You know who she is.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see that. I was waiting for the update, but thank you.
Yeah, and that, to me, I was following this case. This woman was set up.
I'm inclined to agree.
The cops killed that guy, and they tried to pin it on her. He got killed by one of his own. Now, I don't know why. They said this guy was a hothead or didn't get along or he was doing something, but there's no doubt they killed him, and they tried to pin it on this girl. And the woman's white, and so are the cops. So it has nothing to do with color. We got some evil people out there, black and white.
Yeah, I know. Like I said,
if you commit a crime against a woman or a child, you're not a criminal, you're an animal. There's a line in the sand, you know that. We go way back to the old days.
Frank, let me tell you something. You and I, since I've joined this network, have always been eyeball to eyeball on that term. Right. I love, and I'll be honest with you, the first time I had ever heard anybody use the term, you're an animal, was an old Italian guy in the Bronx when I was in high school. I loved it when he said that.
Right. It was in the Italian and black neighborhoods. You don't commit crimes against women and children. There's a line in the sand. You don't cross it.
Yeah, we call that.
You could commit crimes against other people, other men, but not against women and children.
That's the ultimate disrespect right there when you tell somebody they're beyond a human being. You're an animal.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. That's the term we use for it. And guys back then that did something like this, if this guy gets out of prison early, the family will go after this guy.
Look, he served. He's been in there 8.5 years, nothing. And, he's getting out in a year and a half. Like I said, I don't know, what's going to happen. Hopefully, I mean, this was an appellate court judge, so what happens thereafter, who knows? But it's a horrible story. But I had to equate it to what people are talking about with this, this progressivism that has now gotten into places like, I guess places of power. We're seeing it in the criminal justice system. We're seeing it in legislation. We're seeing it everywhere. And it's not good for average citizens. And they're not going to seek justice. This restorative justice is going to harm a lot of people.
Reese, the number one thing I don't like about this country, I told you this a long time ago, identity.
Yeah.
People always notice that somebody's color, their skin. They always know their religion. Who cares?
Exactly.
That's not important. Because there is no advantage to me being white or black or Jew or Christian when you walk into a supermarket. All they care about is how much money you got in your pocket.
That's it. You know what? But even that's considered evil now. Thank you, Frankie. I got you, buddy. Let's go to my good friend Matt in Bristol. Hello, sir.
Hello, Mr. Hopkins.
What's going on, sir?
Hey, I don't know what Frank's talking about. I'm white. When I walk into a grocery store, everything's free. I don't know what he's talking
about. That reminds me of that old Eddie Murphy Saturday Night Live skit when he goes to the grocery store and the guy goes, he buys a cup of coffee and a paper and he goes to pay for it. And the guy goes, "What are you doing, man? Nah, it's free. It's free. You're one of us."
It's free.
I'm assuming. Are you calling about yesterday's show? Or are you calling about today's the opening monologue?
I was gonna call about yesterday's show, the end of it. You know exactly where I was going with.
Oh yeah, I know.
But no. But instead of that, because other people already kind of crossed that bridge.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk about this guy that you're talking about that murdered his kid.
Yeah.
So if they really want to make things fair, I'm okay with it. If a black guy murders his kid, then kill him. If a white guy does it, kill him, revive him, and kill him again. Now everything's even.
Right. So that will get rid of Donald's 20% argument, right? It's sort of
there you go.
Yes. we sort of even it out and we make sure that the white guy gets punished twice as hard with the death penalty. Right.
Yeah, just revive them.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you with us? Oh, now you're dead again. Sorry, dude.
That's what I would call consecutive life sentences right there.
Yeah, double death. Yeah, double death.
That's interesting. Thank you, Matt. Let me grab some more here. Let's go to,
all right, bye.
You got it. Let's go to Jim, who's in Wellington, real quick. Hey, Jim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll tell you what, concerning the Palestinians in Gaza, one other point. I know you were spoken about it earlier.
Yeah, that's
one
fine.
Other point. When Israel left them with a thriving flower business, they turned the whole thing over. It was $1 million operation. Basically, they grow flowers for Europe, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that got totally trashed. As a matter of fact, it was destroyed. I don't know who destroyed it. I assume Hamas did. The other thing is the UN has carved out a multi-million-dollar fund for the Palestinians on Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't track they never track where that money went. We all know where it went. And the Palestinians in the Arab world are considered second, third-rate people. And you've already touched on it. They're not allowed to go anywhere. Nobody wants them.
Yeah,
Nobody wants them in the area.
But you know what? See, there's another side of that, Jim, that needs to be addressed, because it's. Let me put it this way: there's a parallel here. The progressive left in this country is very similar to how Palestinians are treated in the Arab world, Because if you look at them today, right, if you look at Democrats today, what do they say? They're fringe, ideological, far left. They want the biggest or the most extremes, and they will shut you down if you don't adhere to those extremes. They have clearly more power in the Democrat Party than the Democrat Party wants to allow. But here's the sad part. The Democrats bred those people in the colleges. They supported them. They put oxygen in them. They supported them in places like Occupy Wall Street. They supported them in the Weather Underground and every other radical group that ever came into the United States, those extreme leftists. Democrats always funded and fueled that apparatus. And I called it a tantamount to creating or raising rabid dogs, like feeding a dog gunpowder and expecting him to act like an insane. That's the same thing that's going with Palestinians.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's put the Palestinians aside for a moment.
Okay.
And I agree with your description of exactly what you're talking about, the dogma from the left, the Democrats, et cetera, et cetera. I agree with that. But let's forget that for a moment. Why don't we take a look at, was there an outrage from any of these the far left Democrats when Christians were getting beheaded, when gays were getting
thrown off buildings
roofs and burned alive and put in cages and drowned alive? Was there any outrage at all?
None.
Now, last time I checked, those people weren't Palestinians that were getting killed. They were Christian Arabs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They were gay men that were Arabs. And we can go on and on and on with this across I don't know how many countries.
But there's but Jim, there's a naivete in all of this as well. And I always hearken back to that story when the former president of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, came to Columbia University. He was asked to speak there. It was a whole thing there to talk about, to deny the Holocaust, to talk about the Jews and the whole nine. And there was a question and answer period where a young lady asked President Ahmadinejad about gays in Iran. And Mahmoud looked at her in the most quizzical way and said, "There are no gays in Iran." And she goes, no, I'm certain that they're there. And Mahmoud's response to her was, "Do you know where they are?" And she didn't realize that she wasn't talking to a guy who is reasonable or even supported what she believed about, she didn't understand that this guy, if you told him, he would hunt those people down and kill them. She was under some sort of impression he was an ally as a Muslim. And that shows the naivete of the left when it comes to these people.
Let me end with this. No matter what happens in Iran as far as the government goes, the one thing I don't hear anybody talking about is the 30,000 mullahs that are still there.
Yep.
I'm assuming there's some still. So whatever's going to happen, they keep talking about the Shah of Iran. You know, if you look at history of the Shah of Iran, that's not a good history by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
You know, and it was the Persians, the Iranians that originally wanted him out. He was abusing the Iranian people. And we all know what happened after that.
Yeah.
Now,
Are people still referencing? I saw one or two people still talk about the Shah of Iran. I guess in some context to give some history lesson about Iran, but that's not where we are today.
No, we're not there now, but his son is getting ready to go back, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And my only comment on it is this. Whatever happens with the government, the intermediate government, whatever.
Yeah.
What's going on with the 25 or 30,000 mullahs right now that are in that country?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
that's my point.
That's the vacuum that most people are concerned about because this is not an easy fix. It's not an easy fix, and regime change, there's no way. I mean, forget about it. It's a Ouija board as far as regime change is concerned. You would have no idea what you're going to get at the end and what that could create. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you. I said this yesterday. I get the back and forth and I understand the quagmire that the president is in. Because look, let me say this just to be clear. It doesn't have to be a war. It could be U.S. troops flying over, taking out its nuclear capacity, and going home. The rest of the world can look at it and just go, how dare United States do blah, 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 and never there be any conflict. Years later, 10, 20 years later, because you know that axe to grind, that doesn't go away easy. That grudge, that's going to sit there, and it's going to sit around forever and ever and ever. You know, people forget 1993 World Trade Center, 2001 World Trade Center. Same actors. No different. When they carry that grudge, they carry it for a long time. In 1993, when they caught the guys who put that budget truck, was it a budget truck underneath? Do you know what one of those guys were caught saying after he was arrested? They said, we're going to tear that building down. It was 1993. And they accomplished that feat in 2001. So anything that we do, there are repercussions. As I said yesterday, there are other actors in all this. The Houthis, Hezbollah. It could be anybody. Hamas. All of these people are funded by Iran. Sure, you can tear them down and make them a poor country. But eventually, they will find a way. You know, they are just as prideful as anyone else, and they hate America. And that hate is long. That hate for America is long. There's no convincing them of otherwise. That's why the Ayatollah Khomeini said, I will never surrender. He doesn't care about whether or not his people face the consequences of his actions. He could care less. Couldn't care less. This is an ideology that is bred in him, deep inside of his existence. Surrender? That would have been like, what's his name? Yasser Arafat. Remember, not Yasser Arafat. What am I thinking of? Is it Yasser Arafat? Yeah.
Gotta roll.
Gotta be Arafat. Yeah, I gotta take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. I explain all of this when we return. Stick around. It's Reese On The Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
The law firm of Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott understands that divorce can be intimidating, and the decisions you make today will impact your life forever. Divorce is complicated. There's a lot at stake when considering your future. At Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott, our team of family attorneys have over 100 years of combined experience and understand every family law case is different. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer, you get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Katie Bissonette is responsible for the content of this ad.
Low testosterone affects many men today, even men as young as 30. But finding someone you can trust for quality low T treatment isn't so easy. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice. And that's why I'm pleased to announce the opening of our newest location of Northeast Men's Health right here in Warwick. As a Promedic affiliate, Northeast Men's Health has the experience and expertise to get you the right treatment for your particular medical situation. At Northeast Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone. In fact, we've successfully treated thousands of men for low T and have seen the amazing impacts low T treatments have. If you're like most men, you'll sleep better, have more energy and improve mental clarity, get better gains in the gym, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the Northeast to serve you.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
And now, a WTIC news update.
76 degrees at 3:30. I'm John Silva. A standoff in North Haven came to a peaceful end this morning Officers say 24-year-old Javier Reveron was holed up in a Hartford Turnpike home for several hours. This, police say, after he was involved in a domestic incident in East Haven. He surrendered without incident around 7:30 this morning. Day two, the testimony in the trial of a man who allegedly stabbed a Fairfield prep student 3 years ago during a fight at a Shelton house party. Raul Valley is now 19. He was 16 when he allegedly stabbed Jimmy McGrath in May of 2022. One of the attendees at that party was on the stand today. A woman who says she was passed through the Hartford school system without being able to read or write is seeking a settlement. Alicia Ortiz filed the suit against the city's Board of Ed, the city, and a pair of Hartford Public High special ed staffers. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told senators today that the Pentagon is providing options to President Trump as he decides next steps on Iran, but will not say whether the military is planning to assist with Israeli strikes. Emergency workers pulling more bodies from the rubble of a 9-story Kyiv apartment building that was demolished by a Russian missile. The finds today brought the death toll from the attack to 28. Celebrity Pro-Am Day at the Travelers Championship. Among those on hand, Chris Berman from ESPN, UConn men's hockey coach Mike Cavanaugh. Tournament play begins Thursday. We will have leaderboard updates every half hour through the event all weekend. WTIC News Time, 3:32. Here's the forecast.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, more clouds and sun. It'll be humid and warmer with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high up to 80. Tonight becoming partly cloudy, remaining warm and humid, the low of 69. A hot day on tap for Thursday with clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a heavy gusty thunderstorm that could produce hail and damaging winds, the high of 94. Still a thunderstorm in spots early Thursday evening, then turning out clear. Friday, mostly sunny, breezy, a thunderstorm in spots, the high of 86. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Market's trending downward half hour before the close. The Dow is off 49. NASDAQ is up 27. The S&P is down a point. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Slow? Clogged? Backed up? Don't worry. ALO Home Services has you covered. For only $93, our technician will clear any drain in your home. And if it can't be cleared, it's free.
Call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776688, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
College holds a mythic place in American culture, but there are stories you won't hear on the campus tours.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything from rigged admissions to the drama of Greek life and student protests. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Russell Speeders Car Wash is proud to support canines for CT vets. When you wash your car at Russell Speeders, you're helping provide service dogs to Connecticut veterans in need. Shine up your ride and make a difference. Visit Russell Speeders Car Wash today, proudly supporting our heroes, one clean car at a time. Russell Speeders Car Wash. Clean cars, strong communities.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
This is Paige Lopez, founder of Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
And through this process of cooking your food, through eating out at restaurants, through ordering alcoholic beverages, which you can drink with Awaken 180 with our guidance, you're learning these tools, you're educating yourself, and it doesn't even seem like learning, but you'll learn so much about the foods that you're eating and the variety that you can enjoy, that you are arming yourself and ultimately your family with a whole host of information that will enable you to make the right choices, the best choices, the choices that taste good to you long term so that you can experience that long-term success easily.
Before turning to weight loss medications, first call Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, effective weight loss naturally. Eat to lose weight, then receive free support for life. Changing your life starts when you make your consultation today. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, big guys. Truth
Thank you,
is,
sir.
we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical expenses. Policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Make sure that you guys stick around, even though we're going to be going to the Odyssey app, or you can go to WTIC.com in the next 20 minutes. We'll be there. I've got plenty of news and plenty of views to talk about. In particular, an article written by Slade Logsdon. He is a recent high school graduate who's lived in New Canaan for pretty much all of his life, according to him. He says almost my entire life. This article that was in the Hartford Courant was interesting. And I've noticed that the Hartford Courant has been featuring a lot of young people as guest journalists. This one, headline alone, I found interesting. And as soon as I saw it, I said, I got to talk about this. Trying to understand the exclusive nature of a Connecticut town. Don't drive the wrong car. If you're not an arrogant jerk, get ready to have limited friends. It's written by a recent high school graduate, and his name is Slade Logsdon, if I'm pronouncing it right. Logsdon. We'll talk about that in the next half hour. I want to get to the phones real quick. And then I'll tell you about all of that in a second. Let's go to George in Canton. How are you, sir?
Well, greetings, Reese. How are you?
Pretty good, sir.
Two things quickly. First of all, I just looked it up. In the Quran, it states unequivocally it is a duty to lie to the infidel to further the progress of Islam.
Right.
It's a duty to lie. Therefore, how do you negotiate? Secondly, about that, Maya Angelou, and I don't know if she's a liberal or not. I don't know.
She was.
Okay. Well, she has a quote that I think is very germane to just about anything. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them.
I always love that quote.
That's not a conservative or liberal position, is it?
I don't think so.
So here the people are saying it is your duty to lie to further the defeating the infidel. And when we tell you who we are, believe us, from the river to the sea, little Satan, big Satan. I don't understand Trump's trepidation. I trust him, but I don't understand anybody's trepidation.
May I propose
out
something to you, George?
I'm
And give me, okay. I believe that there is his trepidation, in my view, and again, I'm just my assessment from understanding the man as much as I do. I feel like here is a man who promised us no foreign wars and an active aggression against against Iran would be committing the ultimate sin of, I guess, betraying what he told his supporters.
I certainly understand that. And I'm not a monger of war. For crying out loud, who would be in their right mind?
Yeah.
But this is metastasized. He ran party on this front that they can't have a bomb.
Yeah.
And since you can't trust them not to have a bomb, then what's the alternative? And the other thing, because I know time is precious here. The other thing about this person that killed the baby.
Yeah.
Now, and I know nothing about it. Am I to understand this child was of mixed race, black, white? Is that right?
According to her photograph, she appears to be of mixed race.
Okay. Now here's the thing, and this, I'm only saying this because other people that are, well, I'll just clarify. Barack Obama identifies as black.
Right.
But he's only half black.
Correct.
Tyrus on Gutfeld identifies as black.
Indeed.
I don't know how much he's of mixed race. He's Scottish. And Elizabeth Warren identifies as indigenous and Native American. Now, look, I'm all kidding aside. If that child is half black, then she should identify as black. If Obama does, and therefore the father is black and he killed his own daughter, it's black on black crime.
Correct.
That doesn't seem very complicated either. Sololinsky's key in Rules for Radicals is chaos. Create chaos. And that's what the left is doing in every way.
Yeah.
It is, come on. I'm a logical, straight line thinker person. Gravity has no conscience. If Jeff Bezos or a homeless guy trip on the curb, fall over, gravity breaks your nose.
Right.
There isn't any and this whole thing, it is so clear. Good grief, it's clear. Anyway, I know time is precious.
That's okay, George, but I appreciate you. Missed you, and welcome back. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
You got it. This is, it's straight up and down. It just is. It's straight up and down. Anybody who sees it different is insane. It just is. All right, some of the regulars are on, so just forgive me. I want to get to this story while I have the time because I want the folks on the radio to hear it. So this is important. Anyway, opinion, trying to understand the exclusive nature of a Connecticut town. Don't drive the wrong car. If you're not an arrogant jerk, get ready to have limited friends. This is an article written by Slade Logsdon. He's a recent high school graduate. He writes, I've lived in New Canaan, Connecticut almost all my life, especially in high school. I noticed something about this little town. He says, as a freshman, the exclusionary nature of New Canaan was immediately apparent. As I grew older in my high school career, the problems faced by the kids of this town grew more apparent. Despite seeing these problems firsthand, I could never place the root of the issue. What caused New Canaan to be exclusive, riddled with drug use and alcoholism and self-harm in teens? It's a well-kept secret, but New Canaan, with gold-lined streets and award-winning public schools, has struggles kept below the surface. It's shocking to outsiders when anything bad happens in New Canaan. Really? That happened there? And I can totally understand that because I knew what a neighborhood like that as well growing up. So I understand. Anyway, let me move on. Said people who are surprised by suicides, drug-related crimes, and DUI arrests that take place in New Canaan believe in the fairy tale dream life portrayed by many presidents. Everyone puts up a face. Some are genuinely happy here. Most are simply expected to be happy here. So everyone acts it. Life in New Canaan can be summarized by a need to fit in. The root of this need lies in the history of my little town. Now, he goes on to talk about it being a sundowner state. You know, if you're not of a particular background, you had to be out of it by sundown. He says all of that and goes into the history. But then he says this. Not every New Canaan resident is in the bubble, because he's talking about that's the bubble that people live in here. While almost all are wealthy, there's a social bubble that contains the most elite members of society. To be in this social bubble of the uber wealthy in New Canaan, you need the following things. I thought this was interesting. A Range Rover, a country club membership, a child who plays football or lacrosse, being Anglo-Saxon, and a huge house on the west side of town. All of those things, and you're in. Something outsiders won't notice is the ridiculous car payments, steady stream of foreclosures, credit card debt, and mega mansions that are empty. That's right, even in New Canaan, people can be house poor so they can join the club. Drive a Toyota, own a house you can actually afford, and keep your checkbooks balanced. You're smart, but you're far from popular. In fact, you'll be looked at sideways if you drive the wrong car, wear the wrong things, or even treat others with kindness. If you're not an arrogant jerk, get ready to have limited friends. Sounds a little backwards, right? This is clearly a destructive practice. Not only does it encourage an exclusionary sentiment among New Canaan youths, but it's fiscally draining. It's no longer the Gilded Age, where New Canaanites could print money faster than the U.S. Mint. While wealth inequality grows, so does the amount of millionaires. More and more people can afford to live in New Canaan on paper, but fewer and fewer can afford the lifestyle one needs to fit in. I don't know New Canaan all that well, but that is such a damning description of a town he grew up in. Now, I know people who may know the neighborhood. I want to hear from you. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. If you read the article, yes. If you didn't, that's fine. If you know something about what he's talking about, please explain this to me. Here's why I even dove into this article. The Connecticut Mirror did an article that says, does Gen Z want to live in Connecticut after graduation? Well, they talked to 5 different individuals who had just graduated college, and every one of them said no. One of them moved here all the way from California. Another one from Texas. And of the other 3, born and raised here. Do not like it and wish to leave. Crazy, crazy. Their article is even more profound because it was me who said 3 weeks ago, I talked about it on the air, that Connecticut is a place where you end, not where you begin. Well, here's the Connecticut Mirror's article, the opening line of this Connecticut Mirror article. Connecticut has a reputation of being a nice place to settle down. It's not as well known for a place for starting out. I just said that 3 weeks ago. That is almost to the letter of what I said 3 weeks ago. So, if you want to opine about it, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. I got plenty of Connecticut stuff to get into. I got Chris Powell's got an article today talking about the No Kings piece. Also, tourism in Connecticut is down. Why? I have some theories. I'll talk about that as well, and I'll talk to you about them as well. So get on the phones, 860-522-WTIC. In a little bit, we're going to go to online, so you can join us. Don't worry, we're still doing the show. We're still here. Red Sox are beginning their game at about 4:10 today. Who are they playing against? I think Seattle. Yeah, they're playing against Seattle. So that game will be on WTIC, so you can listen to it there. And also, you can go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. You can opine. You can get in the chat room. And you can watch it there live as well. All right? So stick around. More news, more views than you can shake a stick at. We've also got weather and traffic coming up as well with Jason Catarino and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. All right? So stick around. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks. But who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's your good boy? Oh, who's your? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So we had a huge new business pitch.
Attention, all hands on deck.
When, boom, our only printer was fried.
Up in smoke, like your chances of landing that account.
Well, I just sent the file to Staples. Devin, the print associate, was on it. She had it printed and bound same day.
So where's the drama?
There wasn't any. Staples made it super easy.
Inconceivable. For the product, services, and experts you need, Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
It's Reese on the Radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, we'll go to the phone soon, but don't forget, just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com or go to WTIC.com, or if you downloaded the Odyssey app, you can catch us online for the other half of the show. We got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into. Stupidest thing I read today involves Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, and our very own Chris Murphy, if you can believe that. We'll talk about that as well. I keep promising I'm going to get into this story about the Bridgeport students. I keep forgetting, or I get inundated with phone calls, so I forget about it. Also, we'll have our between rounds winner coming up as well. Slade Logsdon has written an article in the Hartford Courant about living in New Canaan, and saying how it's, a bunch of people who are putting themselves in debt so they can be a bunch of arrogant jerks to the community. You guys who call up every day, free up the line so some new people can call in who want to call in. Please, guys, let's get to Reggie in Hartford. Hello, Reggie.
Hey, Reese. Listen, the last caller that you had on who had spoke about the Quran?
Yes.
Okay. So tell him that misinformation or misleading information or just playing out, not reporting the whole fact is not right.
Okay, so what does the Quran read something other than that?
I'm about to let me. Okay, so what happens is that it says that the interpretation could be that you can lie in order for self-preservation for yourself, your family, or your community. Okay, it does not specifically say it's okay to lie in general. Okay, so thank him.
Wait. Are you reading the quote or are you reading the interpretation, Reggie?
I didn't hear you.
Are you reading the exact quote or are you reading the interpretation?
That's what it says. It says it could be interpreted as.
Oh no! Well, don't read the interpretation. That's
Okay.
that's not fair to not fair to George.
That's right. Well, tell George that he needs to say that.
Stop, Reggie. No, sir. You are here
Go
to
ahead.
counter.
Go ahead.
You are here to
Go ahead.
counter George's claim. In doing
Okay.
so, you are reading the interpretation and not the actual text. Can you do the actual text? Or I'll look it up myself. I'm just wondering if I'm giving you the opportunity.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I can't do that now because I'm doing the show. But you're coming. Well, I'm doing the show. I can't just. I'm going to stop the show and go look it up. But my point to you is that as a person who's calling up the counter, and again, this is not a criticism. This is me helping. If you're going to counter someone's claim, don't read the interpretation. Read the actual text.
No, I wasn't reading the interpretation. I was telling part of it because I read down further in the in my search.
Okay.
Is that basically it says that you.
But it's giving you justification to lie, is what you're saying, right?
Just like eye for eye, tooth for tooth.
But it is
like
giving you it goes without saying, though, Reggie, it is giving you justification to lie. Regardless of what the reason is for, it is giving you justification to lie, right?
Well, our religion does.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
I have a 10 Commandments that I'm very, very positive says not to bear false witness. Does it not?
I'm sorry, say that again? Yeah, it does.
We have a commandment that says not to bear false witness, right? That means that isn't my religion telling me not to lie, correct? So that would be a religion that explicitly says that one of its commandments is not to lie, dispelling the line that you just uttered that all religions do it. We have an explicit text that says thou shalt not bear false witness.
But our religion, if it's not giving permission to lie, it does have contradictions in it.
All right, you know what? That in and of itself is a separate issue. But I just want to make sure I'm using exact words here. But Reggie, I appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you for the call, sir. I got to take a break. Let's get our first check of the weather and traffic with our good friend Jason Caterina, who is back and after a really painful surgery, and thank God he's okay. And also Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading into Hartford on the eastbound side of 84, delays 44 Prospect Oakwood up to 48 Capitol Avenue. Westbound 84 slows approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 91 southbound got delays from 35 in Windsor down to 33 Jennings Road in Hartford. Northbound 91 just losing a little speed between 24 and 25-26 for the Putnam Bridge. 9 northbound Middletown is tight. Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. If you're traveling 9 northbound, you'll see a little slowdown as you approach 34 in New Britain. 84 eastbound Waterbury slowing 18 to the Mixmaster. Westbound 84 is running slow from 25A up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Northbound Parkway, you've got delays 66 up to 68 N&E in Meriden in the construction area. Heading into Southbury, the second tractor-trailer accident today in Southbury. 84 eastbound between 15 and 16. The right and center lanes are blocked. Stay left. Delays are back to 11 in Newtown. Behind that, 95 South New Haven slowing 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
Brought to you by Amazon.
This Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, you can get a great deal on a new foot spa, transforming you into the queen of kicking it.
Wait, this has bubble jets. Okay.
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, more clouds and sun. It'll be humid and warmer with a thunderstorm in parts of the area. The high up to 80. Tonight, becoming partly cloudy, remaining warm and humid, the low of 69. A hot day on tap for Thursday with clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a heavy gusty thunderstorm that could produce hail and damaging winds, the high of 94. Still a thunderstorm in spots early Thursday evening, then turning out clear. Friday, mostly sunny, breezy, a thunderstorm in spots, the high of 86. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
4 o'clock, 75 degrees in Hartford. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Contempt charges against the woman serving time in the murder of Jennifer Farber-Dulos have been dropped. Michelle Triconis is doing 14 years on conspiracy and tampering with evidence. She was slapped with a contempt charge when she was found to have sealed documents on her courtroom laptop during trial. Carrie Luft, a spokeswoman for Jennifer Dulos' family, says in a statement she brought her concerns to the case inspector.
Don't worry about the silence, everybody. We're just switching up. Maybe I should play some music. I used to have some elevator music that I used to have here. Let me see if I have. Let me see if I have it here. I used to use it all the time. No, that's not it. No, that's not. I can't find. Oh, wait a minute. There's some music there. Let me see if there's any here. Play something that isn't too controversial. See if that works. No. Of a lesser charge of drunken driving, the verdict coming nearly a year after a separate jury deadlocked over whether Reed killed John O'Keefe in 2022. Meantime, jurors in Milford Superior Court listening to more back and forth about what happened the night Fairfield prep student Jimmy McGrath was fatally stabbed during a house party. Hey, Roland, what do we do? Go
St.
straight
Joe's
to the bottom?
High,
Or we go
student
straight to
Raul
traffic?
Valley was 16 at the time. He's accused of stabbing McGrath and injuring 3 others in a
you go straight to the traffic.
2 rival groups. Witness Griffin Marcinsic remembers when the fight broke out, but Valley's defense attorney Kevin Smith clashed with Marcinsic over some of the memories.
You don't think anybody was live
I have
streaming
no
this?
I have no knowledge of anyone live streaming this
You think
event.
somebody just pulled out their phone and turned on the flashlight and was holding it up to show the fight going on?
Are you confusing a video for a live stream? Because a live stream is lively streamed, and a video is not live streamed. It's a. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I appreciate the distinction, sir. I'm not confused.
Valley turned down a plea deal. He's pled not guilty to murder. A trial expected to take at least a couple of weeks. Federal Reserve keeping interest rates where they are for the time being. Members still foresee at least...
Still got your 08 and 38 and all that.
And that the economy is expanding at a solid pace. Business analyst Joel Schlesinger says you want to see what develops on the tariffs front and in the Middle East.
The Fed is waiting to see how these two events are going to impact the inflation rate, the economy, and then they will make a decision.
And the deal on Wall Street, the Dow down 44, NASDAQ's up 25, S&P's down a point. Keep it here. Red Sox baseball is coming up. Sox and the Mariners from Seattle. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
That it?
His computer's fried.
Oh.
So it's just circling right now. I'm waiting for it to load up.
Okay. What should I do in the meantime? Should I just talk?
No.
Oh, there's nothing going on. Okay. All right, something happened. Was this state dismisses contempt charges filed against Michelle? No. All right, that's nothing.
No, you know what? Go ahead.
All right, we're back. There we go. Let's get that right back. There we go. Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC, or as they're liking me to say now, WTIC NewsTalk 1080. We're back. Of course, if you wish to give us a call, it's 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. At this point, we have got to give a congratulations to Orlando O out of Waterbury. He is today's winner of a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. And I want to give again a shout out to Jerry of Between Rounds and, of course, Karen Thomas at the Friendly Hands Food Bank. They finally got their check. That was also about the Reese's Peanut Butter and Jelly Sandwich giveaway. And they're going to be doing some more stuff. I can't wait to hear what they're going to do next. I think we're going to do something every month, or at least Between Rounds is going to do something every month that's sort of like that, where they're going to be helping out different charities. I don't know what the details are, but they haven't really, confirmed all of them. I may be telling tales out of school without their permission. I apologize, but they've got some great things going on. I don't think I'm telling any bad stories out of school. I just, think that what they're doing is great, and the fact that they were inspired to do it is perfect. I want to play this for those of you listening. What's his name? Harry Enton. He is the pollster over at CNN. He did a poll recently, I guess today, about what people think about engaging with Israel in stopping the proliferation of nuclear material or a nuclear weapon by Iran. I haven't heard this yet, so you and I are hearing it for the first time, but the headline says that a lot of Democrats are on board, as well as Republicans.
And overall, I feel like there's more support for Donald Trump's positions than is comically acknowledged. Oppose Iran getting a nuclear weapon. I mean, look at this. 79% of adults agree on that. They agree with Donald Trump. Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. 83% of Republicans, 79% of independents, 79% of Democrats. When you get 79% of Democrats and 83% of Republicans agreeing on anything, you know that that position is the very clear majority in this country. And so the American public is with Donald Trump. They definitely oppose Iran getting nuclear weapons.
I don't, like I said, I don't know exactly how you slice it, but there you go. I'll play a little bit more when we get back. Let's get another check of weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading in toward Hartford right now, on the eastbound side of 84, delays kicking in about a half mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is tied up just after 56 up to 47. Skirting 91 southbound delays 33 down to 32 A and B, and again down by exit 28. Northbound 91 slowing a little bit, 24 in Rocky Hill up to 25, 26 for the Putnam Bridge. 291 through 84 okay east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound delays Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. Again, some slow traffic. 9 northbound 32 up to 34 Berlin into New Britain. Northbound Parkway, you've got delays approaching Miller Avenue up to 68 N&E in the construction. 91 northbound a little tight as you move between exit 15 and 16 on the Wallingford-Meriden line. If you're heading into Waterbury right now, 84 eastbound slowing by 18. Westbound 84 is a little tight from 25A up to the Mixmaster. We have an overturned tractor trailer on the eastbound side of 84, and that is in Southbury. Well, I'm looking at the website now. I don't see it there now, so it might have just cleared. So that tractor trailer accident between exit 15 and 16 in Southbury has cleared from the right and center lane, so all lanes reopened there. Delays are Rochambeau up to exit 15, so that's good news. If you're heading into New Haven, 95 southbound delays 46 to 44. Southbound side of the Parkway, you're slowing 60 into the West Rock. Northbound Parkway slowing by 59. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
All right, tonight becoming partly cloudy, warm, and humid. The low only down to 69 for us. Then as we head through Thursday, we've got a heat advisory in effect from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. Heat index values around 100 are expected as it's going to be a hot and humid day. Breezy in the afternoon with a heavy thunderstorm late on Thursday. Some of those could produce hail and damaging winds. The high up to 93. Still a thunderstorm in spots early Thursday evening, otherwise turning out clear. The low down to 67. Friday, mostly sunny, windy, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. The high 86. The first full day of summer Saturday, going to feel like summer with the high moving up to 88. Then it heats up from there Sunday and Monday. Sunny to partly cloudy Sunday, the high 91. Monday will be one of the hottest days of the year so far. Will break the record from 1965 with the high right now up to 98 on Monday. Right now, it's 72 in New London with a nice breeze off the water, 79 in New Haven, 75 for Waterbury, and 75 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-96.
Here we go.
That's 1-833-468-9676.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, so this article that this young man wrote, Slade Logsdon, who says that people in New Canaan are willing to to be house poor just so they could be a part of the crowd, I just thought was, I don't know, just a damning indictment of just one town in Connecticut. And I'm seeing these young people who are writing these articles about their neighborhoods, and it never sounds great. They really hate Connecticut. And I don't get it. This other article by the Connecticut Mirror, does Gen Z want to live in Connecticut after graduation? We asked. Connecticut has a reputation of being a nice place to settle down. It's not as well known as a place for starting out. State and local leaders have been working to retain young talent, in part by promoting economic development and adding new housing in city centers. But what do members of the Gen Z labor force actually want from places they live? Well, this is my interpretation of that. The results are sad. It's sad. To find out, the Connecticut Mirror spoke with 5 recent graduates from both public and private universities in the state about their hopes for life after graduation and whether Connecticut fits into that vision. While their paths diverge, some planning to stay, others preparing to leave, they share a common concern: affordability. Whether dreaming of bigger cities, warmer climates, or simply more walkable neighborhoods, each of them is weighing the cost of staying in a state where housing is expensive, public transit is limited, and opportunities can feel unevenly distributed. Yet their stories also reveal what makes Connecticut worth holding on to and what might convince them to stick around. Here's what they had to say. Now, I'm going to go through a list of them, but I'm kind of going to go out of order. By the way, you can check out the article in the Connecticut Mirror if you wish to play along. But there was one at the end. I'm going to go to that one first. And was it at the end? No, maybe not. I'm sorry. It may have been the second young lady who was on here, and it was the thing that I found that was so bad. Here it is. Yes, this is the young lady. Her name is Leela Molly. She's 22 years old. Went to the University of Connecticut, UConn, of course. She's graduating this year. She's living in Howington. Leela has lived in Connecticut her whole life. But after graduating from UConn this spring, she's headed to Boston to start working as an audit associate at an accounting firm. I'm not in love with Connecticut, she admitted. There's not really much to do or stuff that I love. Molly grew up in Connecticut. She chose an in-state school for tuition benefits, but she said she's ready for a change, both personally and professionally. She says, that's more how my parents feel, that I'm deserting them, she said. They're like, everything's here. And I'm like, not really. I don't feel a reason to stay, and I'm excited to go somewhere else. Calling herself someone who comes from a cow town, Molly said her view of Connecticut might have been different if she'd spent more time in places like Stamford or New Haven. While she sees potential in those cities, she's more excited by the energy and public transit options in Boston. That's the thing that Connecticut is missing. In Connecticut, I can't just hop on a bus and go to Hartford. There's just a lot of ways to get in and out of the city of Boston. Though Boston is one of the most expensive cities to live in the country, Molly doesn't see Connecticut as being all that much more affordable. It's way too expensive for what you get, she said. It's like a sandwich. It's between two really nice, better options. So it's like, why would you choose Connecticut? And here's the quote. It's a state you drive through. It's not a state you live in. And I'm like, yeesh. That couldn't be more damning for young people. And I don't know that Connecticut, I don't get the impression that Connecticut is a place that could appeal to young people. I will tell you this. When I was younger, was it my 30s? Yeah, it had to have been. Well, I'm 55 now, so it's in 2004. Yeah, all right, I was in my 30s. And I get to Hartford, Connecticut. And again, you work at a hip-hop station. So working at a hip-hop station, you got to be around the hip-hop guys, the hip-hop clubs, the hip-hop events. There weren't a lot. There were some. Kids were really trying to sort of establish itself as a place where hip-hop was. So young people got along. You had to go to Meriden in a lot of cases. You couldn't really be in Hartford. There were a lot of places on the outskirts to go hang out. And I'd been to them. I'd gone to them. West Hartford, of course. Not for hip-hop stuff, but just cultural things. And I remember going to downtown Hartford at a nightclub that was down the block. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe somebody can help me. It was down the block from the Burger King, across the street from Morton's, right off the main road. But there was a nightclub that was right on the corner on the opposite end, right across the street from, I guess, what's now the former XL Center. Anyway, there was a nightclub there. Not a big place, relatively small, but it was. And I remember that was the first time I was ever in the city limits. And then wanted to go back and said, let's go check out the city. And we did during the day, on a weekday. And the place was a barren wasteland. Nothing. A couple of people standing around waiting to get on the bus. It's like people were there like they had to be, like people were just coming from the Department of Motor Vehicles. Maybe, dealing with something that was, state or federal, like, I don't know, getting a passport. It just had that appeal. Wasn't a lot of shopping. Businesses, people walking back and forth, going to get lunch, that kind of deal. But it didn't seem like it was bustling. And a person who told me, they said, that was the word they used. They said it was a ghost town on the weekends. That there was nothing to do in the city limits, unless there was a concert going on. And I thought that was bad for the capital city. It just seemed like it didn't cater to young people. That's 20 years ago. It just did not. And I could understand people who would take the drive to New Haven or Bridgeport or go to Boston and make it a weekend, like you sort of had to. But my question is, and I think a lot of people question, how do you possibly make Hartford jump? How do you make it thriving? You can't do it with, movie theaters, clearly the concert thing. You can't do it. Sports events are great, but that's not how you get people into the city. Shopping never works because you have the malls, and those aren't doing well either. And I said this a long time ago. I remember when I always tell that story about Amazon when somebody first introduced it to me, and I said, it'll never work. That's where people are now. Everything you want, you can get from Amazon. So that experience of going out to shop almost seems like a chore. Shopping used to be fun. At least it still is for my wife. She likes to go, but she's a, kind of a Target person. I guess that's still a thing. I kind of like the brick and mortar thing. I'm taking my wife to Target, makes her feel like she's done something. She's calling it dilly-dallying now. But I don't think there's a lot of that going on. And I don't even know how you ask people, what would be the thing that would drive you into the city? What would be the thing that we could have that would make you come to the center of town? There's just nothing. And I know New York is kind of a landmark place, so you have things like the skyscrapers and you have Times Square. I don't know if you can could you bring? No, I don't think that would work either. I think those little attractions that they have in Times Square, like the guys who were dressed up as Elmo and all that stuff, I don't know if you could do that and that would be much of a difference. Restaurants could help. I mean, I guess they would, but those are everywhere, especially if they're by the mall. So that almost seems pointless. Do you ever go to the city? Do you ever have to go to the city for anything, Roland? Or do you avoid it like the plague? Like Hartford at all? Has that ever been a place for you to hang out for anything?
Just going to the games.
That's just the games, right? So it's like nothing.
Either the Yard Goats games or basketball games at the Civic Center. Civic Center. That's way back.
Yeah. Well, now
whatever it is now, I don't even know what's
it
called.
It's called the People's, not the People's Choice Arena. I'm forgetting the name of it now. I just remember I had it written down here because it was the XL. Now it's something else.
Yeah.
They just changed it to the People's Arena or something like that. I'll look it up. But maybe Mark Christopher can tell me what it is. But the town doesn't have restaurants and things like that. Is Morton still there or Ruth Chris? Which is the steak restaurant that's right there?
It's not Ruth Chris.
No, it isn't. I think it's Morton's too. I'm almost certain it's Morton's.
They still got some. I mean, yeah. Well, if you're talking about entertainment, but if you're talking about food, yeah, then you can go there. I don't go there to eat. But
you don't go there to eat at all?
There's a lot. I don't live in Hartford, so.
Well, even if you could, like I'm saying, like what would be the attraction that would bring a younger demographic and foot traffic to the main city, right? Just off Sigourney and into the main square. Nothing, right?
Yeah, no, not really.
There are no nightclubs in the city anymore.
Yeah, they used to, that was a big draw. They had about 5 or 6 in the same kind of area. You still got the Russell. People go out to the Russell.
Okay. What is that? Is it any kind of music at the Russell?
Yeah, depends on the day. I believe it's mostly like hip hop and
okay. Well,
R&B.
Richard says that live theater in Hartford is good. I mean, I'm assuming
Hartford Stage.
Right, the Hartford Stage. Yeah, he thought the Theater Works is great, and the Bushnell.
And the Bushnell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean those staples in the area. But in order to do that in the center of city, not only do you have to have the money, but the entertainment has got to be worth you coming out like that. I've got to see. And I don't know if Hartford has the draw power. When's the last time you ever heard a guy say, hey, that time when we played in Hartford was the bomb? Like, I don't.
Well, they have some good like Broadway shows that come. So you gotta.
That's good. Okay.
To the Bushnell. So
Yeah.
I'll go to the Bushnell probably like 2 or 3 times a year.
A year?
Yeah.
Can you remember the last thing you saw there?
Not Pinocchio. It was one of those
Disney performances?
Yeah, one of the.
What-
Oh, you know what? It was it was Michael Jackson on Broadway.
Oh, okay. Oh, the Michael Jackson sort of revival kind of deal.
Yeah.
Where they had the impersonator with the dancers and all that stuff. Oh, that's actually a good
Correct.
show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
That's a good show.
It was a good show.
Yeah, I bet you that. Yeah. See, again,
It was packed too.
I can only imagine because it's so limited. But that's great. Did you guys have the Blue Man Group ever? Was that ever a thing?
Well, a long time ago.
Long time ago, right? Yeah, they finally.
I think they came to the XL Center.
I remember that, and I remember they brought Stomp to Connecticut for a little while, and it just wasn't the same.
They have the Cirque du Soleil.
That's
that
good.
Usually draws
That's
a
a
crowd,
big
too.
draw. That is a big draw. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be consistent in making the city pop over and over again. And in order to do that, you have to have like that kind of mainstay that people go, look, in New York, you've got the Copa. You've got, we used to have the Tunnel and we used to have the Limelight. Those things over and over again, tend to draw the same crowds, if not people to the town to experience that thing. I don't think Hartford's figured that out yet. I don't think they have. Right. Richard also says the Infinity Theater as well. It just had, I don't know. It's just, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing these stories about these kids who just don't want to stay. And I don't think that it may not be Hartford. It may have to be a town outside of the city that actually turns it around to get people to stay here. But I don't think young people are going to stay. They're going to make their bones elsewhere and then, maybe settle down back home, taking over the homes of their parents. That's how you get back to Connecticut. Anyway, I just saw it. It's an article. Both of them I thought intrigued me. We'll talk about it. We'll get to more when we return. Stupidest thing I read today is coming up, so stick around. That's coming up as well. And what else do I have? Oh, the tourism fall based on European cities who are not coming to Connecticut anymore. That's an interesting thing because there's a lot of historic stuff in Connecticut that people no longer find interest in. So that story's coming up as well. I'll get a check on the scores, if there are any, in the Red Sox game. For now, let's get weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher, who's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark, what was the name of the is it the steakhouse that's in the center of town? Is it Morton's or Ruth Chris?
It's not. Ruth Chris is in Newington. Okay. Morton's is downtown.
Is downtown. It's still there. Okay.
Yep.
That's the one I'm looking at.
Yeah, and then there's Max downtown, which is a great steakhouse right across from the People's Bank Arena.
Ah, the People's Bank Arena. There it is.
It's on Asylum, so that's another steakhouse. And our good friends at Carbone's Restaurant going to be opening up. I'm not sure if it's a steak restaurant, but they're reopening up a restaurant down where the old movie theater used to be, right near the Infinity Theater.
Infinity Theater, yeah.
Yep. So, I'll tell you, back in the day when the Whalers were in town and when they had concerts in Hartford, it was slamming down there. You had a stretch from the Civic Center down to the train station, full bars everywhere. It was crazy. I don't go down there much anymore because I'm a little bit older, but yeah, but there was a time when it was a hopping little place, but it's got a ways to go. Hopefully it will come back someday.
Yeah.
But right now, obviously since COVID, it's really taken a pretty hard hit.
You got it.
Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, Reese southbound 91 delays 33 down to 32. Again, down bikes at 28. Northbound 91 is slowing from 23 up to 24 in Rocky Hill. After that, good ride Hartford up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is tied up just after 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush. 84 eastbound slowing 44 down into the tunnel. 291, 384 looking good. 2 eastbounds in great shape. Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 northbound a little slow at the Oregonian Bridge. 9 northbound also slowing again. Berlin into New Britain 32 to 34. Westbound 84 tied up from the 691 interchange up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. If you're heading down in toward New Haven southbound Parkway, you've got delays from exit 61 down into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 southbound delays 46 to 43. Northbound Parkway, you got tight traffic 67 up to 68 N&E in Meriden, and northbound 91 slow traffic from 15 to 16 Wallingford into Meriden. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, more clouds and sun. It'll be humid and warmer with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high up to 80. Tonight, becoming partly cloudy, remaining warm and humid, the low of 69. A hot day on tap for Thursday with clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a heavy gusty thunderstorm that could produce hail and damaging winds, the high of 94. Still a thunderstorm in spots early Thursday evening, then turning out clear. Friday, mostly sunny, breezy, a thunderstorm in spots, the high of 86. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. The woman accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend has dodged a murder conviction. Karen Reed was convicted on a much lesser charge of DUI in court today. She was accused of hitting John O'Keefe with her car and leaving him to die in a snowstorm in 2022. Her first trial ended in a hung jury last year. Contempt charges against the woman, now serving time in the murder of Jennifer Farber-Dulos, have been dropped. Michelle Triconis is doing 14 years on conspiracy and tampering with evidence charges. She had been slapped with the contempt charge when she was found to have sealed documents on her courtroom laptop during trial. Waterbury police investigating a reported shooting this morning. They were called to the area of Woodlawn Terrace around 10, they say. No injuries were reported, but police do say they recovered evidence of gunfire. Day 2, testimony in the trial of a teen who's charged with killing another teen at a Shelton house party 3 years ago. One of the party's attendees was on the stand today in the murder trial of Raoul Valley. Iran's supreme leader rejected U.S. calls for surrender in the face of more Israeli strikes and warned that any military involvement by the Americans would cause, quote, irreparable damage to them. ACL lawyer says the Supreme Court decision upholding Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors was a devastating loss for transgender people. The justice's 6-3 decision today effectively protects from legal challenges many efforts by President Trump's administration and state governments to roll back protections for transgender people. On Wall Street, the Dow finished down 44 points today. The Nasdaq was up 25, and the S&P was down a point. Red Sox lead Seattle, bottom 2, 1-0. Later tonight, the Yankees will try and score a run against the Angels at the stadium, and the Mets continue their road trip in Atlanta. Eastern League, the Yard Goats are in Reading. WNBA tonight after a fight-filled game in Indiana last night. Connecticut Sun back home against the Phoenix Mercury. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Who do I wrestle for? I wrestle on my high school team for Jason Garcia, my fiercest competitor during practice and my biggest fan during meets. I wrestle for my parents who practice what they preach, the importance of hard work, commitment, and dedication. I wrestle for the chance to put our little high school right here in Connecticut on the map.
Wearing the uniform of your high school comes with a big responsibility. Younger kids look up to you. Your teammates count on you. And the reputation of your high school depends on you. Do you have what it takes to participate in a high school sport?
And I wrestle for the glory that is mine when I do my best. That's who I wrestle for.
This message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
Most of us like
minute.
sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal health. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Let's do this thing.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Dumb. Stupidest thing I read today comes out of, I think this article was in the Boston Globe today. At a moment when many Americans are troubled by the role that top Republican donor Elon Musk played in shaping the Trump administration's policies, Senator Bernie Sanders and 7 fellow senators are calling on the Democrat Party leaders to take a sharp break with their own billionaire donors by banning super PAC and dark money from Democratic primaries. The Vernon Independent and his colleagues are seizing a moment of turmoil for the Democrat Party to demand that Democrats begin cleaning their own house by restricting the influence of wealthy donors and powerful corporate interests in Democratic contests. Sanders is attempting to reshape the direction of the party with his Fighting the Oligarchy tour. Yeah, someone finally realized that when you're trying to fight the oligarchy, maybe don't take money from the oligarchy. Perhaps. He says, quote, the American people are disgusted with a corrupt political system that allows Elon Musk to spend $270 million to elect Donald Trump. The senators who also signed the letter were Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer. That's Chucky Schumer. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin, which was obtained by the Washington Post. Also on that list was none other than Elizabeth Warren, Chris Murphy, Jeff Merkley, Peter Welch, Tina Smith, Ed Markey, and Chris Van Hollen. They argued that many voters have lost faith in the political system because wealthy donors like Musk have played an outside role of shaping the outcome of elections. That's included the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, which brands itself as the America's pro-Israel lobby, which has poured millions of dollars into defeating progressive candidates. So there's nothing really honest in all of this. This coalition has fought progressive candidates, and they played a role in defeating Bernie Sanders. This is personal. But if they're going to get billions of dollars out of Democrat politics, I got to be honest with you folks, you're going to see a wild person come out of nowhere who's going to be the Democrat leader. It could be AOC. This changes everything. If they really do stick by this could change a lot. We'll keep an eye on it. We got no election for a while, but we'll keep an eye on it. Let's get another check on the weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91, just a tap of the brakes, 33 Jennings Road, again, down by exit 28. Northbound side of 91 is sluggish, 23 up to exit 24, and Rocky Hill after that, good ride, Hartford up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is tied up just after 56 Governor Street, up to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays from 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. 291, 384, that looks good. East of the river, 2 eastbound, moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge. 9 northbound slowing in Cromwell from I-91 up to exit 24 in New Britain. If you're heading into Waterbury, 84 eastbound, got some slow traffic from 17 to 18. Westbound side of 84 slowing from 26 in Cheshire up into the Mixmaster. If you are heading in toward New Haven, southbound on the Parkway delays approaching 60 into the West Rock. 95 southbound, you're slowing 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For tonight, becoming partly cloudy, remaining warm and humid. The low only down to 69. A hot day on tap for Thursday, so much so the National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. for our Thursday. The heat index value is expected up near 100 degrees. So take care tomorrow. If you got to do something outdoors, make sure you stay well hydrated, find some shade, and take frequent breaks. A mix of clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a heavy thunderstorm late that could produce some hail and damaging winds, the high of 93. A thunderstorm in spots early evening on Thursday, otherwise turning out clear. Thursday night, that is, otherwise turning clear, the low of 67. Friday, mostly sunny, windy, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. Again, the high of 86. Saturday, partly sunny and very warm, the high of 88. It only heats up from there. Sunday, hot with the high of 91. Monday, one of the hottest days of the year so far, partly sunny. Temperature breaking the record from 1965 with the high up to 98 on Monday. Right now, 75 in Mansfield, 70 in New London with a breeze off the water. New Haven at 79. Also 79 in Meriden and 75 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Need good tech advice?
Must be a computer error.
Tune into the Gold.com award-winning Computer Talk with Tab. Saturday mornings 9 to 11 on WTIC News Talk 1080.
God, I love technology.
Eric Semmel and Dennis Howland of Tab Computer Systems will keep you updated with tech news you can use and answer your technology questions live on the air. Miss a program? Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and tune in from anywhere via the Odyssey app. Computer Talk with Tab. Saturday mornings on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Our critically injured responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs, tailored to fit their needs to ensure they rejoin their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors, Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org today.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're back. I keep waiting for it.
All the audio
there
that
it
matters to you is on Odyssey. Odyssey has news that hits home in your local area and around the country. Get local news, traffic, and weather from stations near you. Get national news from CNN, Fox News Radio, and more. And explore the biggest news podcasts like The Daily Punch, Pod Save America, and The Daily, AUDACY. Find all the news that matters to you in a universe of audio. Odyssey.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, this story about Karen Reed is everywhere. I mean, I don't know anybody who isn't talking about it, but it is everywhere. On tomorrow's program, when we return, there is a new report that Kash Patel has sent to Chuck Grassley about the third rail of political conversations, the 2020 election. If you haven't heard about this, look it up. It is a story no one is talking about, and everyone should. There will be people who will try to poo-poo it, but this is a huge story. There are so many ramifications behind this story. You know, if you were wondering, why didn't the Biden administration respond to the big giant balloon? Remember that went over America? Why was there just all of this capitulation and, you know, refusal to talk to China about COVID-19? This new report shines so much light on all that other stuff. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'd probably do it in the opening monologue. No one's talking about it. We were told never to discuss it. But it may be, with everything that's going on, we had a hearing today, you know, talk about the cognitive decline of Joe Biden that Democrats didn't show up to, which I thought was so hilarious. We'll probably have some audio of that tomorrow as well. But now to find out this new information with China, the 2020 election, ballot printing, that there's evidence to support this, the censoring of a president of the United States. There's so much to unpack. We got to save it for tomorrow because there's audio, there's everything. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's such a mess. And so many people are going to want to chime in about this. I know Simsbury Joe is going to want to say something about it. Kim, Pat, everybody is going to want to say something about it. So we'll give them an opportunity to do that tomorrow. Let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Fulton, how we doing, sir?
Oh, boy, that sounds like a good one tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Should have saved my phone call for that one, but no. My question today, I got one for you today. So who do you think is less safe? A person that's in like a 50-year-old in Tehran, a 15-year-old black in Chicago?
I didn't hear any of that. Try one more time.
Hang on. Let me take you off speaker.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That works better.
15-year-old, can you hear me now? Okay, 50-year-old black in Chicago.
Okay, you said Chicago. All I heard was Chicago.
50-year-old black kid in Chicago.
Yeah.
Or a 50-year-old kid, Iranian kid in Tehran. Who's less safe right now?
I would say a kid in Chicago is probably less safe.
That's sad, right? Because that's going to be a war zone. Like, think about that.
I mean, it
that's a
is.
sad statement in America.
It is. I mean, we had a time, Fulton, in this country where there were more deaths in the city of Chicago than the active
Than
war
Iraq.
zone that is in Iraq. They were calling it Chirac.
No one says anything like that. This is nuts.
Yeah.
Like, black on black crime is worse than what's going on in Iran now and like freaking Ukraine.
You know what? I mean, I will say that, a war is a war is a war, but yeah,
of course.
it's not a safe place. But I think it's insane what's happening to Chicago. Brandon Johnson, that mayor, forget about it. He is not long for that city. That's a wrap. I don't know who's going to run against him, but he's not long for that city.
So guess what worse? They went from
Lori Lightfoot, to this guy.
From the pants to the fire.
Whoever thought that Lori Lightfoot would have the legitimate response to Brandon Johnson with the quote, "Miss me yet?"
Right, like, he's like, hold my rainbow cup. Watch this. You're like, what?
Yeah, I mean, oh, goodness gracious, this guy is an absolute mess. Now he's gone one step further with everything, and I think this is to save some sort of face with the black community who's out to get him. He's got a 6 to 7% approval rating. Now he's doing a reparations task force. And even that's not wooing people in Connecticut. So if you can't get if you can't get them with reparations, you're done for. That's all I can say.
I want to say, what happened to malls? Malls used to be amazing to hang out with. Like being a teenager, you go to a mall, you meet girls. Nobody wants to do that anymore.
Yeah, I think, gosh, I'm going to say something controversial here. Ted Kaczynski was right in a small part of his manifesto, sir. And that was the advent of the internet was going to keep people from interacting on a human level, like on a person-to-person level.
I got a weird footnote for that.
Huh?
You know who invented the internet?
Oh, Al
Who
Gore.
was part of DARPA? Jeff Bezos' grandfather.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look that up. I swear, I looked that one up. Jeff Bezos' grandfather is the founder of DARPA, the government agency that created.
Oh, you know what? I got to look that up now. Thank you, buddy. Let me get to one more. Let's go to, hey, Craig's in the car. What's going on, buddy?
I got ADD again, buddy. So many topics.
That's fine.
I want to do a dive into Connecticut and what we were talking about before, but as far as the Democrats and who's going to rise, do not underestimate Stephen A. Smith. He checks a lot of the boxes on the other side that Trump did.
Okay.
He's going to get some of the bro vote because of his ESPN stuff. He's going to get some of the black vote, and it's common sense. The guy talks common sense.
But
and
he's not sounding.
People that
he's not sounding like a Democrat. He's sounding very moderate in the sense of I can't peg him.
But in the beginning, Trump didn't sound like a Republican. He
Very
just
true.
sounded like, right? We all said, Trump's not a Republican.
Right.
I'm not voting for that guy.
Right.
Well,
I will admit, I was one of the people when he ran. I was a Ted Cruz guy because that guy at least, he had the Rehnquist angle. He was a Reagan conservative. That was Ted Cruz was the guy. I jumped on that and I said, and it took me very late. It took Donald Trump to win the South Carolina primary before I said, okay, it's time to jump ship because there's clearly no path for anybody else. So I was very late,
right,
and on purpose as a reasonable person. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ted Cruz checked all the boxes back 8 years ago, and 4 years ago, DeSantis checked all the boxes. But checking the boxes, that doesn't win you an election.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
It does. You know why? Because it's no longer politics as usual. And I think you and I know that, and a lot of people know that now. I think the thing that's Democrats are having the biggest problem with is not reconciling that it's not politics as usual. The stuff that's supposed to get you hammered and kicked out of politics, especially for a guy like Donald Trump, only surges with him. You know, the lawfare was supposed to, forget about it. He's going to jail. There's no way anybody's going to vote for him. They tried to convince us every day, you're really going to vote for a felon? You're really going to vote for a felon? And people embraced it. They were like, yep, he's got my vote.
Well, I think the majority of Americans, the reason why politics as usual doesn't matter is because most people don't give a bleep about the politics.
Yeah, indeed.
They care about the substance. They care, right? So take the politics out of it. Trump got a lot of us to vote for him, even though I'm a Republican, I'm conservative, and I've been on town committees, I've been all that, but the guy makes sense. And I think Stephen A. Smith is the same track. Really do.
You don't think Democrats take him out? Even if they try. I mean, what I'm saying is on Democrat politics, when Democrats seek to take you out, they succeed. They couldn't do that in Republican politics or with Donald Trump. I think they've got a better shot with eliminating a surging Stephen A. Smith and it having the effect.
Way.
You don't think so?
No way, because Democrats want to be in power, and they'll follow whoever they need to follow stay in power. Have you heard Lindsey Graham talk about Donald Trump in the last 60 days?
Yeah, I know.
He's the biggest fanboy there is.
I know.
Right? Keep us in power, man. We'll fall in line. Yes, sir. How high do you want me to jump?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm going to watch him just because, Greg, I trust you. I'm going to watch Stephen A. Smith. I thought about it a long time ago, and I said, you know what? The guy's getting some prominence there. He could, but I think the party's gone so far left, and they are really, they've got such a stronghold of the Democrat Party, the far left, that a guy like Stephen A. Smith, even if he were to become a populist, they try to take him out in some way. But I don't know.
We'll talk about Connecticut another time, but I want you to go back and I want you to watch Ann Coulter when she was on that panel. I don't know if it was
Bill Maher,
CNN or MSNBC or whatever, and Bill Maher, right? And they asked her, "Who's the most likely person to become president?"
Out of the declared,
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And they almost laughed her out of the building.
Joy Reid was on that panel, and she had the biggest shocked face of them all. And isn't it? I find the irony there that under Trump's resurgence as president of the United States ended up being her demise off MSNBC. It's incredible. It's a look back at that, and it's true.
I just see so many parallels between those two people, and I'll tell you what, Stephen A. Smith is a lot like Bill Maher. I bet you if you put Stephen A. Smith and Donald Trump together in an interview, it would come out just like the Bill Maher thing did.
Probably,
guaranteed.
Yeah, likely, strongly likely. All right, I'm going to pay attention to it now. Since you brought it up, I'll keep a close eye on it. We'll see. We'll see very soon. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate you, sir. Yeah, again, he is. Do I think that he's an electric figure politically? But I'll say this, and I'm going to watch him. Like I said, do I know whether or not people will accept him politically in that way or as a political figure? I can't tell you. But I know where I have my issues with him, and it appears in a lot of ways that he is so brand new to this. Not like Donald Trump, who had to deal with politicians in his business, right? So there was a parallel to some degree with Donald Trump as a real estate guy, having to deal with heavy hitters like the Schumers, opening up businesses across the country or buildings and real estate across the country and internationally. So him having to cater to, if not be catered to by, elected officials, relationships like he had with the Clintons. Those things put him in the proximity of politics all the time. Stephen A., and I said this a long time ago, I read an article, I'll find the name of it, because I think it's a book you should read. It's a great book. It talks about how sports writers hate writing for sports and really want to get into politics. That for them, it's a natural progression to go from sports writing to politics. And I think in the book, well, my example was Mike Lupica, who wrote for the New York Daily News. Right, wrote for the Daily News, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, started writing political pieces for the Daily News. And I'd known Lupica forever, talking about sports. I grew up with him on Yankees and Mets. And then all of a sudden, I was noticing he was getting these editorials inside the Daily News about politics. And I'm going, I don't want to read politics from Mike Lupica. Why would I do that? What does he know? And how would I know what he does know? Of course, he probably follows politics. I just feel that way about Stephen A. It isn't natural enough of a progression. That's where I'm holding my water on this one. I'm going, there is no way. I did not see any sort of a brewing progression where I can see some of the politics in sports that he then brought to. It just seems like a turning of a switch. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me if I'm wrong. Craig thinks I'm wrong. He thinks that I think he's learning on the job. But that may be great for him right now. That gives him another 2-3 years for him to actually figure out this whole politics thing. Hell, Barack Obama had less time. He had 180 days present. Guy was like elected, he took office in 2006. He was running by 2007. For all intents and purposes, Stephen A. will have far more experience than Barack Obama did at the time. I'm just saying. Just saying. All right, we'll come up with some more news and some more views when we return. Our last hour is coming up. I still didn't even check out the Red Sox score. I'm sure John Silva will tell us. Oh, it's tied. Okay. Red Sox are playing in Seattle. Tied 1-1 the bottom of the third. And, yeah, go Red Sox. Let's see if they can improve. They're just over 500. So the Mariners. In fact, they're practically even. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The big showdown on Friday night.
Who's that?
Going to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. That's you.
Getting to hang with Raffy Devers, who will now play any position for the San Francisco Giants.
Isn't that crazy?
Some different scenery, no angst against the ownership out there. He's like, you know what? I'll play any position you want.
Yeah,
so
sure. Where's he going to go now? What position is he going to play for San Fran?
I don't know. He's DHing right now. I assume he's DH in maybe third or first. But, yeah, you could see the animosity that grew between him and the Red Sox management, which the Red Sox management, their upper management, is not. It's very easy to not to like. You know,
I know.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound delays 44 Prospect Oakwood down into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is tied up just after 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush. Southbound 91 delays 33 down to 32 IMB, and again down by exit 28. If you're northbound 91, that slows approaching 24 up to 25, 26 in Wethersfield. 291, 384, okay, east of the river. 2 westbound, slowing 1D up to the 84 west merge. 9 northbound into Middletown, a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge again. 9 northbound, slowing 32 in Berlin up to 34 in New Britain. There's an accident northbound right at the beginning of the Berlin Turnpike in Meriden and that is right at the intersection of North Broad Street. So look out for some delays there on the northbound side of the Berlin Turnpike. Heading into Waterbury, westbound 84 tied up, approaching 26 to the Mixmaster, 84 eastbound, some slow traffic between 17 and 18. 91 southbound into New Haven looks good. 95 southbound delays 46 to 44. South on the Parkway delays 60 into the West Rock Tunnel. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, more clouds and sun. It'll be humid and warmer with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high of 80. Then tonight, becoming partly cloudy and remaining warm and humid, the low only down to 69. A hot day Thursday with clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a heavy gusty thunderstorm that could produce hail and damaging winds, the high up to 94. There'll be a thunderstorm in spots early Thursday evening, otherwise turning out clear. Friday, mostly sunny, breezy, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, the high 86. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, 77 degrees in Hartford. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. The woman accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend has been found not guilty at retrial.
Not guilty verdict was read inside a Massachusetts courthouse. Outside, Karen Reed supporters erupted in cheers. Reed spoke to them a short time later.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
The jury of 7 women and 5 men did not find Reed guilty of second-degree murder in the death of her Boston police officer boyfriend, but she was convicted of a lesser drunk driving charge.
That's correspondent Bradley Blackburn reporting. Contempt charges against the woman in the Michelle Troconis murder have been dropped. The Jennifer Dulos murder. Michelle Troconis now doing 14 years for conspiracy and tampering with evidence in that case. She was hit with a contempt charge when it was found she had sealed documents on her courtroom laptop during trial. Carrie Luft, a spokeswoman for Jennifer's family, said in a statement today she brought those concerns to the case inspector, but she supports the move by the state's attorney as a trial, she says, Luft, that is, would be unnecessary and time-consuming. Fotis Doulos was accused in Jennifer's disappearance and murder. He took his own life before he went to trial. Ahead of very hot and humid weather, Governor Lamont has activated the extreme hot weather protocol beginning at noon on Sunday. That'll allow the state to ensure those most at risk receive essential services, including where cooling centers are located if the need arises. Dr. Justin Cahill, the chair of emergency medicine at Bridgeport Hospital, says the heat combined with the high humidity can impact those with underlying health issues.
Generally, we do get poor air quality as the heat and humidity come up, and that's also something that we want to watch out for our friends and family who may have chronic medical conditions, like someone who has COPD or has heart disease.
Protocol runs through June 25th. In Milford Superior Court, the Raoul Valley trial continues. Prosecutors say the then 16-year-old fatally stabbed Fairfield prep teen Jimmy McGrath and injured 3 others at a house party in Chilton when a large fight broke out back in 2022. Defense attorney Kevin Smith cross-examined fellow partygoer Griffin Marcinsic, who said he saw the deadly brawl begin.
But you can't tell us who it was that started shaking the vehicle.
It's not that I couldn't tell you who, it's that I didn't specifically look around and remember who was who. I know who all my friends are, obviously, yes, but I don't know where their positions are. I don't know their experiences. I was paying attention to myself and looking at the car. I wasn't watching everyone else's doings.
Valley has pleaded not guilty after he turned down a plea deal. Federal Reserve left interest rates where they are today. Business reporter Jason Brooks.
Fed Chair Powell cited tariff uncertainty as a major factor in the central bank's decision to keep steady on interest rates, leaving the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5% for the 4th consecutive meeting. The Fed is still projecting 2 rate cuts in 2025, but Powell cautioned that members aren't holding these rate paths with great conviction, given the level of uncertainty in the economy. Powell said that current monetary policy is well positioned to respond in a timely manner if needed.
The greatest in golf back at the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell for the Travelers Championship. Of course, even with a tougher layout this year, Is known for producing low scores, but defending champ Scotty Scheffler says it doesn't mean the course is easy. He calls it a fair test.
The most frustrating thing for me when I play a golf tournament is when you see good shots not getting rewarded and bad shots not being punished properly. That's really all we look for. And so, do I care that 22 under wins this week? No.
Well, Scheffler shot 22 under to qualify for a playoff on his way to a win last year in Thursday's first round. He'll be paired with the new U.S. Open champ, J.J. Spawn. On Wall Street, the Dow lost 44 points today. The NASDAQ was up 25 and the S&P down 1. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a mom in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
Hey, we're back.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080. And I am working very, very hard right now. I just got this look from my wife, who just looked me right in the face. And nothing upsets me more than to see her disappointed. Because, and I got to take a trip. It's important that I take a trip. And she wanted to come with, and she worked out every way for her to come with me. And she can't. It's not going to happen. And so the look on her face when she has to say, I guess you're going to have to go by yourself. It's just devastating. It's like I'm committing a crime. That's what I feel like. I can't, it's not, look, I'm just not rich, and sometimes the expense is just too much. It's a lot of money. Traveling today, it's through the roof. Everything costs a crap load of money.
You gotta find the cheap sites, man.
We went through the cheap sites. It's just because and again, it's not a big deal. It's not supposed to happen until the end of July. If anything, I can make it at the end of July, then it'll probably be cheaper. But even when we're trying to save money, because we got a big thing coming, the end of the month is the boy's birthday. It's his 18th birthday. It's a big deal. And she's trying to be that mom, who buys the big gift on the 18th birthday. I just say cut the kid a check, or do like my mom did, or my mom said, she never got a chance to, but she said she'd buy me some matching luggage and a one-way ticket. That's what she said for my 18th birthday. Buy him a ticket to go somewhere. That's all you have to do. You don't have to spend all that money. But to have her not be able to go, and then the look on her face and have to tell her, maybe you should go by yourself. Now I got to work it out so she can go, so I don't feel like crap. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese. Thank you very much. Well, if you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound side of 91 delays 33 down to 32.
You can always hit the strip club and make a few dollars.
Shield line, another bump again, 23 down to exit 22 in Cromwell. Northbound 91 slowing between 20 and 21 as you move up into Cromwell. Again, a brief slowdown by exit 24 in Rocky Hill. After that, good ride, Hartford up into Windsor. If you're traveling on the westbound side of 84, delays approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45. Flatbush 84 eastbound slows about call about a mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 2 westbounds a little slow as you merge with 84 West. 291, 384 okay. Both sides of 9 a little heavy at the Aragoni Bridge. We have an accident right at the beginning of the Berlin Turnpike in Meriden up near North Broad Street, slowing you down there on the northbound side of the Berlin Turnpike. 84 westbound In Cheshire, slowing approaching exit 26 up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 84 eastbound Waterbury, tight 17 up to exit 18. Heading toward New Haven, southbound Parkway delays 60 into the West Rock and 95-43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
As we head through tonight, becoming partly cloudy and remaining warm and humid, the low only down to 69. Then we've got a heat advisory in place for Thursday from 11 in the morning till 8 p.m. Heat index values close to 100 degrees. A hot day, obviously, with a mix of clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon, humid as well. A heavy thunderstorm around late that could produce hail and damaging winds. The high up to 93 Thursday. A thunderstorm in spots early in the evening, Thursday evening, and turning out clear, the low of 67. Friday, mostly sunny, windy, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. Not as hot for the day, the high of 86. It starts to heat up again over the weekend. Saturday, the first full day of summer with the high up to 88. Sunday, hot, the high of 91. Monday, one of the hottest days of the year thus far. Partly sunny, will break the record from 1965 with the high up to 98. Right now, 77 Waterbury, 82 Danbury, 76 in Mansfield, and also 76 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs, tailored to fit their needs to ensure they rejoin their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors, Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Most
today.
of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We'll be back in a second to talk about this Rhode Island, Vermont, and Connecticut report that says that tourism is down across the state, which is very sad. We're going to break down all of them. From New Hampshire is also on the list, but we'll take your phone calls now. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to David Ellington. Hello, sir.
Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Where are you going that you're not going to take your wife with you?
Connecticut.
Well, I wouldn't take her to Connecticut either, okay? I would definitely not do that because I'm in the midst of getting the hell out of here.
She says to me just a minute ago, she goes, do you have to go a whole week? And I'm like, no, I can make the trip shorter. I mean, we're moving there anyway. We're coming anyway. But she's making...
You're moving to Connecticut?
Yeah, of course.
You know what's going to happen to your taxes?
I'm well aware. We've worked it out. We worked it out.
All right.
Thank you, Ann.
So here's another thing I got to say.
Yes, what you got?
So everybody's, lack of a better word, pissing and moaning about Trump saying, I don't know whether we're going to do it or I don't know whether we're not going to do it. Well, he hasn't made his decision yet. Two people have to understand what happens if he drops this bomb.
And that's all it is. I mean, to break it all down.
He already told the people from Tehran, leave.
Right.
Tehran's only 60 miles away.
Well, it's Tehran, but yeah.
The repercussions they could get from that bomb being dropped, even though it's underground, could be astronomical.
I think, look, I think this is strategic in this sense. One, I know he understands the ramifications. There was a long game here. Iran will never, ever forget. We're already in hostile situations with Iran as it stands. This would be a hostile...
1979,
Right.
just to make it clear.
Exactly. This would be a hostile act. They would take it that way, and every day we'd be looking over our shoulder to make sure there wasn't
But
some
how
cell.
but how can Iran turn around and say, if the U.S. gets involved in this, it's going to be all-out war? So Iran's already declared war on the U.S. if Trump drops his bomb.
No, and again, you're
Iran declare war
100%.
on us and they took 52 hostages.
You are 100% right. Like, what difference would it make in this regard? However, that's the point that I'm making. If indeed you drop this bomb, you actually eradicate their nuclear program, and then something happens on your watch. Some cell is activated in the United States because you know damn well they got in here. And then there's this calamitous. Well, yeah, right. And then something dire happens under that. That is, no one trusts your administration at all. It's your fault. Why did you do it? Blah, blah, blah. Hindsight is 20/20. That whole thing. So I think that with that being said, I think Donald Trump's playing it right to the line. It just goes, we're going to do it.
I do too. I mean, it's like, oh, well, I woke up today. I said, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And then I went to bed last night and I said, I'm not going to do it.
Right. I think, yeah, you're with me on this one. And I think you and I are correct in always giving the impression I'm a minute, a second, an hour, a day away from saying I'm going to bomb you.
My two fingers, I'd take my index fingers and my thumb and put them together. You see the space between them? There is none.
Right.
Okay?
I hear you. You're 100% right.
Iran has to understand.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Thank you, Dave. I was thinking as he was talking about that line, Wesley, when he's telling the princess about the Dread Pirate Roberts. For those of you who know the film, The Princess Bride. And he talks about the time when he was captured by the Dread Pirate Roberts, and the Dread Pirate Roberts kept saying to him every day, tomorrow I will most certainly kill you. Tomorrow I will most certainly kill you. And he just kept saying that for years and years and years. And finally he told him, I'm not the Dread Pirate Roberts. I took it over for some other guy, and then he became the Dread Pirate Roberts. But that was the whole thing. I think that there is this thing going on with Donald Trump where he's just constantly baiting Iran and saying, tomorrow we're going to bomb you. And he doesn't bomb you. I was like, we're thinking about bombing you, but we don't think enough people have evacuated Tehran. We'll see you tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we'll bomb you. And I think that that's the objective here. Dave might be spot on here. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Mike in Plainville. Hello, Mike.
Hello there. On your show tomorrow, you mentioned about the previous 4 years with Biden. Now, not one thing that comes out tomorrow would surprise me at all after everything that's gone on. Not one thing.
Yeah, this is,
there's
so many.
How much worse? Can you tell me how much worse it is than what we already know? Can you put it on a scale?
Here's the best way I could put it on the scale. It's a 10 out of 10. It's that much of a scale. But here's the best part about all of it. And I know it's the reason why the mainstream media isn't going to cover it until they are forced to, or they are forcing themselves to find a way to dispel it or disprove it. It's what Donald Trump said in a tweet that turned out to be 100% true. He was never lying about it. And even though it was something plenty of Republicans were cringing at and pushing back on him about, and even went so far, Sean Hannity is even one of the people who may have to apologize to the President of the United States in saying that he should let go of the 2020 election. Anyone who said Donald Trump should let go of the 2020 election, why does he keep talking about it, has egg on their face today because of this information. That's how bad it is. And the worst part is that the government knew about it, the FBI knew about it, Department of Homeland Security knew about it, the CIA knew about it, the White House knew about it. They all knew.
This thing with Iraq, I don't know. It's this complex that they have in northern Iraq is too large for.
You mean Iran?
Special operation. It's Iran. Yeah, it's too far inland for special operations to go in. It's too big. You wouldn't be able to send a 12 or a 16-man team in there. They wouldn't have enough ammunition or
I don't think
explosives.
You're right.
Ordnance to do it anonymously. Or secretly. The only way is to get them by the air.
Yes. From the last reports I saw today, I think the Iran has the ability to mobilize at least 1.5 million soldiers. That includes soldiers inside or Iranians alone, the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. That's how many.
I wouldn't want to be in Donald Trump's shoes tonight. I mean, this is a big one. It really is. You don't know what you hit that white-faced hornet, the bee's nest. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why there's a will he or won't he kind of ordeal going on. We'll know when he makes the decision. I don't think he's going to. I mean, unless it's necessary. But Donald Trump has a tendency to surprise us. And turn out that
I can't wait. I can't wait for your show tomorrow.
You got it, boss man. Thank you, Mike. Let's go to Bill in Southington. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Reese, how are you?
I'm good, sir. What's up?
That's good to hear. Couple things. Number one, if they attack, people are worried if they drop a bomb on that, we're going to have radiation leaked.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think back to 40s and 50s when they were testing all those atomic bombs.
Right.
Nobody was worried about radiation back then. I mean, it went into the atmosphere and that was the end of it. The other point I was going to make is, as far as Hartford is concerned, Roland thought he had the Patriots in the bag, so he let the Whalers walk away. And that was huge to downtown Hartford. It was part of the identity of Hartford. You drew crowds in, and they wanted to upgrade the Civic Center. Well, they're doing it now, and as the state always does, the horse is out of the barn.
Yeah.
To try and you're going to be competing with the casinos. All the big shows go to the casinos now.
Right.
They don't even think about Hartford. But they're going to upgrade the Civic Center. You should have done that.
But don't
way
you
back
think?
when.
But Bill, don't you think? I've always thought of this of Mohegan Sun when I lived in Hartford. I hated that drive. Mohegan Sun was a great place. Don't get me wrong.
Today.
But I think a lot of people hate that drive.
I do as well. It's an hour drive down there.
Easy drive.
Interested in going to, but I'm like, I'm not going to drive all that way. It's a pain in the neck.
Yeah, but see, Roland's in the background. Roland said it's an easy drive. Well, Roland, I want you to.
Foxwoods, that's a dumb drive because you got to go 8 miles of street.
Yeah, that's true. Foxwoods is considerable. But I want you to consider this, Roland, in that whole deal with, saying it's an easy drive. We're looking at an older populace that would be going to the shows at Mohegan Sun, right? They're going to see groups like,
Thank you.
Exactly. They're going to see groups like Rod Stewart, right? They're going to see guys like, Rick
you
Astley.
Gotta add an extra hour on after the show's over.
Right.
I'm falling asleep on the way home. But the other thing is, too, I remember in the 80s, Hartford was rocking.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Chuck's Steakhouse was in the Civic Center. You had the Russian Lady. You had boxcars. That was a hopping town.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten to the point where, it's flatlined and you're trying to revive it. You got to get a major sports team, something in there.
Yeah.
To bring it back to life.
And a lot of home games. And a lot of home games.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Bill. Much appreciated, sir. Yeah, I know that there's a remedy to this. And again, like I said, back in 2004, the thing that bugged me the most was that there were so many malls to go to, and the malls were crowded when they meant something. And
Breaking news: Bus family selling the Lakers.
Are they?
Yeah, to Mark Walter.
Oh, that means that, but they're staying in L.A., right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? It wasn't. I'm sorry.
Their dad is rolling over right now.
Yeah, no kidding. What's the daughter's name? What's her
Jeannie?
name? Jeannie Buss. Yeah, I don't think she was doing a great job.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was the one when her dad was alive, smashing Magic Johnson. So
was she with Magic?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's just bad. And now is she still with Phil?
I'm not sure.
Because I remember they were for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were for a while. Yeah, but anyway, the sad part is it's like when I saw the Hartford area, pretty much a barren wasteland. It was just empty. It was a dead zone. And I went to the Buckland Hills Mall, and it was like night and day. And I'm like, what? Is it because of the malls that people weren't going into the city? And I was like, yeah, it kind of made sense. I remember Peter Jennings called it the uglying of America. The fact that more people were driving to the malls instead of to the city for cultural things. I thought it was a evil thing to say about the suburbs, but that's kind of Americana. The malls. That's how teenagers grew up in the mall. Parents would drop them off. It's got the Orange Julius. It's got the Auntie Anne's. The kids are fed. They could go to the movies. There's an arcade inside. It was sort of a safe haven for kids to roam around. It's like putting them in a big, giant, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a playground. Maybe you give the kids a couple of bucks to go buy a pair of jeans or some sneakers. Some extra spending money to go get ice cream and go to the food court. Call up their friends and meet them there, and they'll just go hang around. Girls would watch the boys. Boys would watch the girls. Maybe flirt a little, exchange numbers, see kids they went to school with. That was the hangout spot. When I was growing up, we didn't even have that. We had the Coliseum and Jamaica Avenue. I hated the fact that people had the malls when I was in Queens. We had to hang out on our block in our neighborhood. Kids who had malls, I was so jealous of them. God, that was so... It's like, why can't we have a mall? Well, it was simple. Because we would have shot them up.
I was about to say, robbed all the stores.
We'd have robbed the stores and shot them up. That's the hood, ladies and gentlemen. That's the hood. That's just the way it is. You poor kids, you had no idea what you had. The rest of us were jealous of you. Couldn't even go to the movies in my neighborhood. Be a shootout. Watching, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Somebody having a shootout. Ridiculous stuff. We had a shootout at the premiere of Godfather 3 at one of the movie theaters.
That's expected.
Yeah, well, I guess that technically would be expected. Let's get a check of the weather, traffic, and some news with John Silva, Jason Caterina, and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you. Southbound 91 delays 33 down to 32 IMB. And again, slow traffic 27 down to exit 28 in Hartford. Another bump as you move 23 down to 21 in Cromwell. Northbound 91, a little slow, 24 up to 25, 26 for the Putnam Bridge. After that, good ride, Hartford up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is slowing 56 Governor Street to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound locked up, 44 Prospect Oakwood down into the tunnel. A little slow again, 58 out to 59 in the 384 interchange. If you are heading right now, Route 2 eastbound, that's a good ride. East Hartford into Glastonbury. 2 westbound slowing 1D up to the 84 West merge. 9 southbound losing a little speed. Cromwell Middletown line to the Aragoni Bridge. 9 northbound, some sluggish traffic from 32 in Berlin up to 34. in New Britain. If you're on the eastbound side of 84, moving into Waterbury, slow traffic 17 up to 18. Westbound 84 is tied up 26 in Cheshire up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Southbound side of 95 got delays 48 down to 43 in West Haven. Southbound on the Parkway a little slow 60 into the West Rock Tunnel. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, more clouds than sun. It'll be humid and warmer with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, the high up to 80. Tonight, becoming partly cloudy, remaining warm and humid, the low of 69. A hot day on tap for Thursday with clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a heavy gusty thunderstorm that could produce hail and damaging winds, the high of 94. Still a thunderstorm in spots early Thursday evening, then turning out clear. Friday, mostly sunny, breezy, a thunderstorm in spots, the high of 86. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Follow WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't miss out on important updates in Connecticut, from breaking need-to-know news, weather alerts, and more. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app now. And now, a WTIC News Update.
It's 5:30, Hartford temperature 76 degrees. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. A jury found Karen Reed not guilty of second-degree murder today in the death of her Boston police officer boyfriend, but guilty of a lesser charge of drunk driving. Jury handed down its decision after deliberating for at least 22 hours since June 13th. Verdict comes nearly a year after a separate jury deadlocked over whether Reed killed John O'Keefe in 2022. A contempt charge against Michelle Traconis has been dropped. She was found to have unsealed documents on her courtroom laptop pertaining to the case of Jennifer Dulos during her trial on conspiracy charges last year. A standoff in North Haven came to a peaceful end this morning. Officers say 24-year-old Jovier Reveron was holed up in a Hartford Turnpike home for several hours. This, police say, after he was involved in a domestic incident in East Haven. He surrendered without incident around 7:30 this morning. Day 2 of testimony in the trial of a man who allegedly stabbed a Fairfield prep student 3 years ago during a fight at a Shelton house party. Raoul Valley is now 19. He was 16 when he allegedly stabbed Jimmy McGrath in May of 2022. One of the attendees at that party was on the stand today. A woman who says she was passed through the Hartford school system without being able to read or write is seeking a settlement. Alicia Ortiz filed the suit against the city, the Board of Ed, and a pair of Hartford Public High special ed staffers. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told senators today that the Pentagon's providing options to President Trump as he decides next steps on Iran, but would not say whether the military was planning to assist with Israeli strikes, an action that could risk dragging America into a wider war in the Middle East. And emergency workers pulled more bodies from the rubble of a 9-story Kyiv apartment building demolished by a Russian missile. The finds today brought the death toll from the attack on the Ukraine capital the previous day to 28. On Wall Street, the Dow finished down 44 points. The NASDAQ was up 25 and the S&P down a point. Red Sox on the TIC right now. They lead Seattle 3-1. They're playing the top of the sixth, one on and one out for the hometown team. The Yankees tonight at the stadium, they'll try to score a run, something they haven't done in 3 games. They've taken on the Angels, game 3 of a 4-game set there. And it's the Mets in Atlanta to take on the Braves. Eastern League Yard Goats continue their road trip in Reading. And then the WNBA Connecticut Sun host Phoenix. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Who do I wrestle for? I wrestle on my high school team for Jason Garcia, my fiercest competitor during practice and my biggest fan during meets. I wrestle for my parents who practice what they preach, the importance of hard work, commitment, and dedication. I wrestle for the chance to put our little high school right here in Connecticut on the map.
Wearing the uniform of your high school comes with a big responsibility. Younger kids look up to you. Your teammates count on you. And the reputation of your high school depends on you. Do you have what it takes to participate in a high school sport?
And I wrestle for the glory that is mine when I do my best. That's who I wrestle for.
This message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We got more news and more views coming up, so stand by. I did want to read this. Rhode Island, Vermont, Connecticut, and New Hampshire report that tourism meltdown is across the whole country, but these places in particular. Americans Americans and Europeans are not interested in coming to these states. And tourism is down some 60%. Rhode Island's on the list, Vermont again, and Staten Island. Here's what they say about Staten Island. Staten Island. Connecticut, I should say. Staten Island? What the heck? Connecticut suffers quiet decline from European visitors. Connecticut hasn't published official numbers, but signs of a downturn are visible. Long a favorite for heritage tourists from Europe, the state's museums, golf resorts, and shoreline towns are seeing quieter months than expected. Tour operators from Germany and the UK have cut back on scheduled group trips. Business owners say that inquiries from overseas markets have slowed, and upscale properties report lower occupancy among international guests. And I'm assuming they mean like Airbnb and hotels and stuff like that. That doesn't seem, maybe it's just not the right time of year. I know it's been unseasonably warm in Connecticut, right? It's been pretty hot lately.
No, not really.
No? I mean, in the last couple of summers?
Oh, yeah. The last couple of summers.
Yeah, last couple of summers. It's been unseasonably warm. I think that plays a role. People don't, it's a European thing. That's what I believe. That when it's really, really warm, people don't like to go anywhere or to be in places where it's going to be really hot. Lord knows I hate it. I'm a middle of the road guy. Spring and fall, that's my time. That's why I love Connecticut.
72 degrees is the best weather.
This best weather. I couldn't agree more. 72, and at night when it gets down to roughly about a 65 where I can wear a jacket.
Yeah, nice little breeze.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So when you get up there in the 90s, I got to wear a T-shirt. People are talking about linen, and just...
You can't wear no clothes in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's bad. I hate, it's the worst place to sweat under your neck. That just feels like, I don't know. It's the worst feeling ever. And I can't deal with it. So that's what they're saying. I'll read a little bit more later, plus your phone calls. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hot town, summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty.
There you go.
I just thought of that song right when you said that. Love and Spoonful.
Are you a fall and spring guy, not a hot summer guy? Or you what's your winter guy?
I'm not a winter guy, so anytime I can walk around in shorts and a t-shirt, I'm a happy guy. So
let me ask you this. Are you one of those guys who get the ache around the body and then think, oh yeah, we're gonna get a bad storm? Are you there yet?
No, not quite yet. but I'm sure it's coming, Reese.
I
I'm
hope
sure
not.
It's coming.
I don't want
I'm
that
sure.
for you. That's bad. People
Yeah, it
hate
is
that
bad.
guy. My grandmother used to get on my nerves with that. She go, oh, my hip bothered me. We gonna get rain. I'm like, oh, here we go.
I think you're better off looking at a barometer. I think that's
Thanks.
a little more accurate. That's just my thought. Hey, if you're heading, if you're
I was gonna
heading
say,
into Hartford
let's
right
get Jason
now,
Caterino
on
on
the
that one.
westbound side of 84, you got delays 56 Governor Street out to 47 Sigourney, 84 eastbound locked up 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. A little slow again.
If you've been shot or stabbed, you know when the rain's coming as well.
Chester into 384 interchange. Southbound 91's a little slow, 33 to 32. Again, down by exit 28. More slow traffic, 23 in Rocky Hill, down to exit 21 in Cromwell. More delays again, approaching 19 down to 17 in Meriden. Northbound side of 91 is looking good. Cromwell up through downtown, up into Windsor, 291 through 84, okay. 2 westbound slowing 1D up to the 84 west merge. Heading into Middletown, 9 southbound's a little slow at the Aragoni. Waterbury, 84 westbound, delays 26, sluggish up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 84 eastbound in Waterbury slows 17 up to exit 18. If you are traveling into New Haven, southbound Parkway delays 60 into the West Rock. 95 southbound, you're slowing from 48 in New Haven down to 43 in West Haven. I'm Mark Christopher. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
We'll see with this new shoulder that they put in me if I start to get one of those aches as weather starts changing, make me more effective. Listen, it is warm and extraordinarily humid out there. The dew point at 69 right now in Hartford. That is bordering on tropical, so it's one of those days where you can just go outside and start sweating, even though it's not all that hot. It is going to be hot and humid tomorrow, though. Partly cloudy tonight, remaining warm and humid, the low only down to 69, so not a lot of relief tonight. As we head through Thursday, the National Weather Service has fired up the heat advisory. That's good from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. on our Thursday. A hot and humid day with clouds and sun. The heat index could be around 100 degrees for us. The air temperature going to be 93. Heavy thunderstorm late that could produce some hail and damaging winds. A thunderstorm in spots early Thursday evening, otherwise turning out clear. The low down to 67. Mostly sunny, windy Friday. A thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. Again, not as hot, though, for the day. The high of 86. Summer solstice is late Friday evening. That makes Saturday the first full day of summer, and it's going to feel like it as we move through the weekend. The high of 88. Sunday up to 91 and partly sunny, very hot on Monday. We're going to break the record from 1965 with one of the hottest days of the year so far. The high up to 98 on Monday. 77 Waterbury, 82 Danbury, 73 in New London. That's nice. 75 in Mansfield and also 75 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
All the audio that matters
30 seconds
is on Odyssey.
Really?
Odyssey has news that hits home in your local area and around the country. Get local news, traffic, and weather from stations near you. Get national news from CNN, Fox News Radio, and more. And explore the biggest news podcasts like the Pod Save America and The Daily, AUDACY. Find all the news that matters to you in a universe of audio. Odyssey.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
If you're just joining us, earlier we talked about an article out of, I can't even remember what the publication was. It was one of the Connecticut newspapers here, not the Hartford Courant. Oh, Connecticut Post. It was talking about 5 college graduates who were thinking about leaving Connecticut because it was either too expensive, can't get around through public transportation. One young lady referred to the town she grew up in, Harwinton, as a cow town. Well, Zach, who's a faithful listener of the show, and we always appreciate that, Zach sent me this, and I'd like to read it if I could. He says, I'm from the same town as the young lady going to Boston. I'm 28 years old, so quite young, yet slowly leaving that demographic. A lot of it is going to come down to personal preference. I personally love living in a cow town. Harwinton is great. There's 5,000 people. Most people who live there have grown up there, along with their parents, and their parents as well. The people are friendly, and we just got our second stoplight in the town this spring. A very hotly contested decision, by the way. The problem with Howington, it's in Connecticut. We're being priced out, despite our selectman doing his best to keep the mill rates down. We've got New Yorkers moving in, trying to shut down farms because they smell, he put in quotes. While I have no plans of leaving, I do wish I could pick the town up and move it to a place like New Hampshire or North Carolina. Our state leaders have abandoned us for illegals and DEI. Connecticut is a declining state, and it's very, very a sad sight to see. And I feel for you. God, there's so much about this act that I love that you're talking about. And if I may, it's the parts that's supposed to be funny and somewhat, disconcerting. There's 5,000 people in the town. Love that. I love every part of that. I love every part of that. Only 5,000 people in it. That means you probably get to know half of them. I would get 2,500 new friends. It's easy to know 2,500 people in a small town. He says the people are friendly, and we just got our second stoplight into town this spring. A very hotly contested decision, by the way. I would have loved to have been there during that. Can you imagine being at the barbershop or the diner in the town and everybody's having a debate? So do you think we should get the stoplight? I don't know. I'm against it. I think the stop sign is fine. I would have loved that. I would have loved every bit of that. Coming home and telling the wife, so, looks like we're getting the stoplight. Are you serious? When's it going up? People would have driven into town while they installed it. Those things I love. The farm. Now, again, New Yorkers, let me tell you something. If you got New Yorkers moving into the town, into Cowtown, and then complaining about it being there, okay, I'll admit New Yorkers could be a little arrogant, but that's just idiotic, to say the least. I'm sure they scoped the town out and saw that there were farms. I'm sure if they had kids and they drove down the road, they saw the cows and went, "Oh, look, moo cows." And if these sons of brain surgeons moved into town and then are trying to get rid of them, I'm sorry, I would have to, I may have to scream at somebody. I just would. That's exactly. I would definitely have to curse some people out. I just would. It would be like moving to New York City and complaining about the police and fire sirens. And then telling them you're going to have to tone it down a bit. New Yorkers, you're smarter than, or at least I thought you were. But everything about that is beautiful. That is the reason, again, I'm a New Yorker. And maybe I'm a little nostalgic here. But I am the type of person that says, you go to Connecticut to get away from all of that hustle and bustle that these kids are talking about leaving. You know? Alvaro says, so boring. Well, I'm not, you have to explain. Am I so boring, or is it's so boring to live in Cowtown? I know. Look, if you're looking for excitement, clearly Connecticut is not your cup of tea. In Connecticut, if you're looking for excitement, there's New Haven, there's Bridgeport, those places. There's a lot of, really, really fine action going on in those neighborhoods. There's a lot of ducking and running, screaming. It's like living in Jurassic Park. But more guns. That's all. And violence of a different kind. I'm just saying, if you want to live somewhere where it's quiet, Connecticut is where you go. Well, thank you, Alvaro. I'm glad I'm boring you. That means you should stick around longer. When you first moved here, Roland, to Connecticut, Did you think it was compared to New Orleans? Did you think it was really, really slow? Because New Orleans is not a. I mean, it's a.
Nah, New Orleans is Louisiana is slow. It's
Yeah,
just
Louisiana
down south is slow.
yeah,
So
it's
it was
slow.
like it was right in the same wheelhouse. Now I will say when I used to go visit New York, then I was like, oh, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? I still to this day don't know what people are talking about. As a New Yorker, people say everybody in New York moves so fast. I go, really?
No,
I never got that impression.
It moves super fast. I couldn't even keep up with the traffic or like when to walk or my first couple times going out there. Yeah, then I got going out there a lot more. I got used to it.
I'll always say that when being in Connecticut, being in Virginia, I think my attitude being in those areas, I calmed down a little bit. Like I acclimated very fast in those areas. When I come to a different place and I notice that things are slow or done differently, I just immediately go, oh, this seems cool. And I never got the impression when I got back to New York that everybody was all over the place. I will admit, the only thing that really bothered me about going back to New York, I think I went there for my brother's wedding in 2018. That was like the last time I was there in New York City. I drove through Manhattan. The thing that I thought was the biggest change was the fact that there were bikes everywhere. That was annoying. Like having to make a turn here and there. I had to look for a bike lane.
Oh yeah.
That had like its own signal.
Yep.
That was uncomfortable to deal with. But I've always, like I said, I tell everybody, I'm the one person from New York who hates it, because I always thought that there was just too much emphasis on being a New Yorker and not recognizing who we are. It's like, I'm from New York. And I'm like, then what does that mean? It's not like Queens. Queens is not like Brooklyn. I mean, we really can distinguish ourselves. Brooklyn is not like Staten Island, although they're similar in some ways. But they're not the same. And people treat New York like it's this all-encompassing sort of way of life, and it isn't. It's very different. And this deal that everybody is fast, it's like I never really got that impression. I kind of just thought that we just move differently.
Yeah, the two humongous differences when I moved up here was the number one thing was the food, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
The food is way different. But the other thing was all the kids were still out playing, but we played football down south.
Yeah.
And basketball up north. So
Now, we played stickball here, and I'm not going to lie, that was actually pretty fun. I like stickball.
Ooh.
Stickball was a big deal here.
Lakers selling for $10 billion.
That sounds right. Sounds right. Yeah. $10 billion?
$10 billion.
That'll come down.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm positive. I mean, how much are the Dallas Cowboys worth?
Probably somewhere around the same boat. Probably about $5 or $6 billion.
Let's take a Dallas Cowboys.
I would say about $6 billion.
Cowboys worth. Let's see if we can get a worth today. $10.32 billion.
Yeah, there you go. I said about the same.
Ugh. I don't know.
America's team, man.
Yeah, America's team. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, sure. $10.32 billion. What would be the next popular team in sports? I mean, in football. In football.
In football, you got the Cowboys. You got it was the Patriots, but not anymore. The Chiefs.
Okay, let's say the Chiefs. The Chiefs. Chiefs worth. Let's see if that's even comparable to what. I think I put that in wrong. Did I just put that in? Yes, I did. The Chiefs worth. That's incredibly low. $4.3 billion.
$6 billion difference.
That's pretty bad.
And they've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 6 years?
Yeah,
probably 5-6 years.
So that goes with that. That shows you what that is. Anyway, all right. Before I get out of here, let's take Frank into Hartford, who's on hold, and you're my last but not least caller. So how you doing, Frank?
Not bad. How about yourself?
I'm good, sir. What do you got?
You haven't brought up the fact that we were going to get a casino built at no cost in downtown Hartford.
I remember
but
that.
The mayor then rejected it, saying that it would be no good for the people of the city, that they would waste all their money gambling in the casino. Yet the income that it would have brought in for Hartford would have been incredible.
You know what? I think, and it's funny because I dealt with this in Boston. Boston wanted to build a casino in the city. Back in 2008, it was a big to-do, a big conversation about it. And many people have this argument, and I'll get your take on this, was that usually when you bring a casino, the two things that you bring in as far as a criminal enterprise, as it were, you got a lot of loan sharking and prostitution. That's always the concern of the local constituency. You don't think that would have been a problem in Hartford, considering like what it looks like today?
We have it already.
Yeah.
Go down Washington Street. I mean, I worked in the city for 25 years.
Right.
In the 70s and through. And downtown was so much fun. After hours, you go there. Now they pull up the sidewalk at 5 o'clock. You don't think a casino would have helped that? It
There's
was just
so much
ridiculous
you can. Yeah, listen. Do I say that the ends? Do they justify the means? And I'll tell you what I mean by that is, you are right, because as the earlier caller said, many people will go out to Mohegan Sun. Many people will go out to Foxwoods. They will take that long trip to go spend their money there because it's not just gambling. There are shows and that whole bit. If you do bring it, I wouldn't say, how about this? Would it help on a small scale, or would you need a Mohegan Sun type institution in Hartford to make it bustling again?
Well, what you mean, as it says now?
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
like, would you need something? Would you need something more substantial than Foxwoods or Mohegan? Well, Mohegan Sun is smaller, so would you need something comparable to Mohegan Sun, or would you need a smaller version of that in the city of Hartford?
Even if you put in a smaller version, now that we have the minor league baseball team,
right,
that has been voted the best facility in the minor league as of now.
Yeah.
And also you've got the Civic Center being redone.
Yeah.
I think it would eventually build the city back up again.
It's true, and you can get those restaurants. You get what do you call it? The guys from Hell's Gordon Ramsay restaurants in there. You get all of that other stuff inside, but you don't even have to have a sports arena. And what makes a good point about this, Frank, is look what's happening with Vegas right now. They're about to bring the Oakland A's to the area as well. I mean, forget about Northern California. Nevada is the place to go. Las Vegas is the place to go. It might be a smart move.
It's booming because they built that football stadium. It seemed like it took just a couple of years.
It sure did.
I go to Vegas all the time, and going by the highway when they first started, and then the following year it was almost done.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. They're building everything out there, and you got legalized gambling.
Yeah.
And I don't think Vegas is hurting for anything right now.
It's true. It's a lot better than it used to be. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate you holding, and thank you for being our last caller today.
All righty. Take care now.
You got it, buddy. Yeah, I mean, maybe you may just have to. Just suck it up. I know people will call about it tomorrow. Should they wow, Hartford. A gambling mecca of New England. I don't know. You got to do something. Vegas did it. Yeah. Let's get up out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here next time. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark, gambling.
There was talks of bringing a casino into Hartford during John Rowland's administration, and John didn't like the idea, and it never happened.
They may have to rethink it, man.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a big proponent of casinos because a lot of people that shouldn't be gambling are gambling. And
I get it.
They lose a lot. They lose a lot, unfortunately.
Yep.
Hey, Reese, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
You got it.
91 southbound, a little slow at 32 A and B.
They're going to gamble either way.
Bump 23 down to 22.
It's so true.
As you move down into the
All right,
Cromwell
I'll see you
area
tomorrow. We'll
by
do
the
it all
Route 9
again.
interchange.
All right, so you enjoy your night.
Thank you, man. You
Southbound
too.
side of 91. Look for slow traffic as you approach 20 down to exit 17 in Meriden. Northbound side of 91.
All right, Pasa. There is a casino downtown in Springfield. That's right. I do know that. I don't think it has helped much. Springfield is a little different, though. Hartford, that would change a lot. We might talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you. Alvaro, I'm sorry that you thought it was so boring. You should have come much later and when we were on regular radio, but you found us, and we appreciate you. Y'all be good. Holler.